Remember, the seeds we plant today are the trees we grow tomorrow. Aloha, welcome, multidimensional friends, shifters, light guardians from all across this holographic matrix. Thank you so much for joining in. Once again, my name is Brendon, aka Mystic Spider-Man, aka Skull Babylon, aka Wolf Shield, welcoming you to another very exciting, educational, inspirational, soul-inspiring Paradigm Shift Central Synergy Circle presented here on behalf of ParadigmShiftCentral.com, a portal for conscious creators and leaders helping accelerate the shift in consciousness. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. As I said, for those of you who are tuned into this on YouTube, drop an 1111 in the comments to confirm that you can hear me okay, and we will get rolling into this broadcast. And for those of you who may be here for the first time, huge welcome. Maybe you tuned in recently. We had a super epic 1111 meditation. I know a lot of people may be returning after having discovered Paradigm Shift Central following that, so thank you so much. And so for tonight's broadcast, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. It's a busy night within the Matrix tonight, and you may notice the fact that I'm the only one on camera tonight, but we are here as a community. You are here as a circle. You are completing this synergy circle by you listening to this, by you being here in the YouTube comments, on the Facebook chat. And so for tonight's broadcast, what I wanted to be able to do, since it is like a little bit different, since again, it's literally just everyone's busy tonight, and the fact that it's Thanksgiving in America is an awesome opportunity for us to be able to do something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while, which is to be able to create a broadcast specifically about the topics of conscious media creation and a little bit about the whys and the hows. So that's what we're going to get into for tonight's broadcast. So by listening to this broadcast, I want you to get value out of this. I want you to be able to learn a little bit more about what it means to be a conscious creator, why you would want to be a conscious creator, how to be a conscious creator. And by the end of it, just to be able to have a little bit more of that paradigm shift, a little bit more of a perception, a little bit more of an understanding of what can be done and why this is something that I am so passionate about. And so I'll do a little bit of an introduction as we get rolling into this to be able to provide even more context for what it is that we're creating here together as a team. So for those of you tuned in on YouTube or Facebook, if you haven't already yet, please feel free to hit that like button, share this video around. That is greatly appreciated. It helps more people tune into this, and I'll do my best to be able to keep an eye on the live chat to be able to keep an eye on the comments and also any questions that people might have as we roll through this broadcast related to conscious media creation. So as a quick introduction, for those of you who don't know me, as I said, my name is Brendon. You can find me on Instagram at Mystic Spider-Man, on YouTube at Skull Babylon, and I've been creating conscious media for 10 years. I'm an award-winning Canadian filmmaker. I've done over 5,000 broadcasts, millions of views on YouTube, lots of really cool videos related to free hugs, consciousness expanding videos, conscious flowetry, guided meditations that we've done, and plenty of these broadcasts where we bring people from across the world to be able to help build a global team of shifters. Shifters are people who are helping assist and accelerate the shift in consciousness through acts of creativity and compassion. So if you are listening to this and you're just like, wait a second, I'm helping shift the consciousness, I'm helping accelerate the shift through acts of creativity and compassion, I guess that makes me a shifter. And you are a shifter as much as you choose to be, because the shifter is an archetype that is inside all of us. You can also think of a shifter as being a modern day Jedi, a gray Jedi. We also use the term light guardian here within the project. So what we are doing here within the project and within this broadcast is I want to be able to, this is my intention, this is my vision, this is my purpose, this is my why. Part of my why is to be able to help more people become creators, become conscious creators. And again, we're going to get into the discussion of this to be able to flesh it out, to be able to think about why is that important? Why is that so important? And I feel that when it comes to being able to help assist with the shift in consciousness, one of the most valuable things that we can have is to be able to collectively have more of an impact and an impression on what stories we are telling. what media we are sharing, what message we are putting out. So here within the Paradigm Shift Central project, just before we get right into the flesh of the discussion, you're welcome to check out more at paradigmshiftcentral.com. One of the things that I want to be able to tell you about is the new team Instagram page, which relates into the context of this discussion. And of course, you can also check out our team chat, which is linked into the info on YouTube and Facebook, so you can follow it there. So if it's your first time here, jump over to the team chat, sync up with us there. You can get more connected there as well. And again, what we also are doing. Oh, okay, one second. I just need to check. You make sure I'm not putting a lag on my. Cool, sweet, awesome. Audio's good. Didn't even have to change anything. All right, perfect. All right, so what I want to be able to talk about during this broadcast, first of all, let me just be like clear and transparent in the sense that a lot of this is more like a test run for me. I want to be able to just kind of like step up to the plate here, to be able to practice talking about the whys and the how of conscious media, to be able to practice receiving questions from you in the chat so that we can learn together. And then out of this is going to help me. This is going to help me grow in my ability to be able to crystallize this information to continue to deliver it even more to the community. So check out more at paradigmshiftcentral.com. Connect to our team Instagram page. Huge shout out to our Patreon supporters. You help make this broadcast possible. And by the end of this broadcast, I'll tell you a little bit more about the Patreon and also the rewards and the options where joining as a Patreon can allow you to be able to connect with me further in your journey as a conscious media creator. So one of the things that I want to be able to share with you just in terms of updates that is very, very exciting, and it does relate to this topic of the whys and the hows of conscious media creation, is the idea that a big milestone, a big project that I have been focusing on, a big task that I've been focusing on within the Paradigm Shift Central project has been the creation of our team Instagram page. And so the team Instagram page, if those of you who haven't checked it out yet, I'll post a link for that into the chat so that you can go ahead and follow that. We've already got, by the time of this broadcast, we've got about almost 600 people following it, and it's only officially been running for about a week now. But the vision and the intention behind the team Instagram page is that through this collective Instagram page, what we are doing is we are building a shared network. We are building a shared platform where we are featuring various creators, conscious creators and leaders within the community, and helping more people get introduced to their content and to be able to help more people connect to their work, and to be able to allow those people to receive the support of the audience who are connecting with their work as a result of us curating their content through the Paradigm Shift Central Instagram page. So just as an example, so far I've put up a few videos of my own to be able to create the foundations and to be able to just set the story. And then through there, we've shared 3 people so far at the time of this broadcast. A good buddy of mine, Brock Springstead, he's an amazing artist who I began this project with 10 years ago. Gabe Solomon, another conscious media creator who I've known for quite a while, does lots of amazing videos, a lot about hybrid children and kind of fifth dimensional awareness. And also Brianna Breezy, Golda Guyan. She is again trained psychologist, does a lot of angel card readings, really into hoop, and a lot of it just very earth and grounded, and a very strong warrior spirit to her. And out of this, just as a quick example to give you to share in the success of what we are creating together in the bigger vision, is by posting up content featuring Brianna's work. As a result of this, about 50 new people have recently followed her Instagram page just within the past 24 hours since we put up that content. And so for her, she's just whoa, that's really awesome. Suddenly 50 new people are able to be present with what I am sharing with them. And then those people might become, again, more connected with her. They might become clients, they might become customers, they might become allies, whatever it is. And so the vision behind this team Instagram page is that we're going to keep growing this. We're going to keep growing this over time. We're going to grow it to 1,000, and we're going to grow it to 10,000. What happens when we've been investing in this for 6 months down the road, and suddenly the team Instagram page, with the help of the community, is suddenly at 200,000, maybe it's 1 million, whatever, right? Why not? Why can't it get that big? But the value in this is that anybody whose content that we share through this is suddenly being featured to this collective audience, and then more people are having the opportunity to be able to connect with their work. So this is something where, for me, this has been, I felt called to create this, to create specifically the team Instagram page, following the reflection on what is needed for the community. And I felt that one of the things that was needed for the community is this idea of being able to provide a single channel that we can share that helps uplift the entire team. And part of the vision behind this is that you can imagine is that one of the things I want to do is to be able to help people who may not be reaching as wide an audience as they could or as they deserve. So say, for example, again, I've talked about this in another video, that there might be, a person who's just starting a YouTube channel, such as you, which relates to what exactly we're talking about, because I'm literally telling you like this because it all relates. So imagine that you've created a YouTube video and maybe you don't have much of a following yet, but you're involved with the Paradigm Shift Central community, and we've already connected, we've already chatted, and I'm like, hey, like, I really like what you're creating. Let's feature it through the team Instagram page. And then we do that, and suddenly, like 500 more people are following you on Instagram within 24 hours or something like that, right? Like, you can see how this is just like such a powerful tool, such a powerful device. And out of this, again, it just like creates this beautiful opportunity for us to be able to uplift the entire community. No longer does it have to be this idea of like, again, like competing and everyone, and that's kind of, again, I see that a lot on Instagram where like everyone's just kind of like, they're running their own race and they're just like, they're going. But what we need as a community is more of that collaboration, is more of that shared story, is more of that interfacing, that relating, and that bigger story of showing that we are here as a team, that we are here as a community. So for me, just to give you a visual, this is like one of the visuals that I work with when I think about this. And if this resonates with you in the chat, drop an 1111. If this is just like, yo, okay, I can see what he's talking about here, I can see why this is important. But I want you to almost like visualize this. In the new Star Wars movie that is coming out, there's like this scene in the trailer where there's like this like mass, like just like the entire screen is filled with ships. The entire screen is just like filled with this like entire what's the right fleet, I guess would be the right word. And so I want you to kind of imagine that part of my calling, part of what I'm trying to do here is literally to be able to help like assemble the fleet. And so what I'm doing here is I'm creating this like single like mothership, which would be Paradigm Shift Central, or it's like a base or something like that. It's a base that's also a ship. And then out of this, I'm like pointing out other ships and other captains, and I'm telling people like, hey, like, okay, here's Brianna's ship. She's a badass captain. She's like an awesome creator who wants to go on board with her ship. And then again, out of us sharing the content through the page, it creates the opportunity for people to get on board with her ship. And then we share someone else's ship, and then people get on board with their ship. And then we share someone else's, and we share someone else's, and we share someone else's. And then again, out of this, it creates this like visual, like metaphysical imagery of just all of us assembling as this like armada, as this fleet of conscious creators, and collectively as a community, we're getting on board with various creators. We're finding people who we might not have otherwise known about, and we're seeing the bigger story that is unfolding collectively as a team. So this is such a powerful vision that I have behind why this page is important. So I encourage you to go check out the Paradigm Shift Central Team Instagram page and be sure to engage with it. Pay attention to who we're sharing through that page, and any person that we're sharing, be sure to like them, go follow them, send them a direct message, let them know that you found out about them through Paradigm Shift Central, let them know that this is working, and connect with them further. So if that makes sense, again, just drop an 1111 in the chat, because I'll just kind of move on to the next topic of discussion here. But that is a huge update that I wanted to be able to share with you. So if everybody here who's tuned into this broadcast, if you haven't already yet, go ahead and jump over to Instagram and like the new team Instagram page at Paradigm Shift Central, and stay tuned for more content there. We're working on getting up to 10K as soon as we can. Once we're up at 10K, that gives us like a swipe up feature, as well as it allows us to upload longer Instagram TV videos as well. So it gives us like more abilities to be able to help feature people's content. So thank you again, everyone. Super excited to be able to see that part of the project grow as well. So looking at some of my notes here, I want to be able to shift things into, again, part of the whys and the hows of conscious media creation, so that you, the audience, you, my team members, will be inspired by listening to this broadcast. Like, that's the beauty of me doing this, is that this gives me a chance to talk to hundreds of people tuning in at once. And out of this, I want to be able to provide you with the information, with the knowledge, with again, the insight to be able to say, like, oh, sweet, like, I am, maybe there's more that I can be doing. Maybe I have a little bit more direction. Maybe I have a little bit more clarity as to what my next steps can be in terms of creating conscious media. So a quick little note, if there are any leading members within the Paradigm Shift Central community who want to jump on air during this broadcast, let me know. Leading members are people who are signed up on our Patreon at the $11 level, which I'll talk about a little bit more later because it does relate to what we're doing here. But joining on the Patreon at the $11 level allows you to be involved as a leading member in our community, which gives you a variety of perks, one of them including being able to join on air for our regular synergy circles, which again are Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And like I said, tonight's just kind of a weird fluke. Again, the fact that it's Thanksgiving in America, and literally, like, everyone who I message are just like, oh, sorry, I've got other plans, otherwise I'd be there. So I'm like, okay, all right, looks like I'm just like going forward with this, and that's okay, because hey, this is still just practice. So rather than me just being like, oh, no one's joining tonight, no, instead it's like, oh, sweet, let's like have a discussion that's going to move the story forward. Let's have a discussion that's going to plant some powerful seeds. So let's get right into that discussion. Conscious media. I want to be able to ask you, the audience, again, as a discussion here by us as a team, when you think of the term conscious media, what do you think? What does the term conscious media mean to you? Go ahead and leave some comments in the chat, and I'll read some of those on air as we go through this as well. And so, with conscious media, and again, give me a little bit of leniency here, because like I said, this is almost like a practice presentation that I'm doing, because I want to be able to do more presentations like this. But this is literally just me, like, kind of like, I've got a page full of notes and I'm kind of flowing through it the best I can. So let's have fun with this. Okay, so the why behind conscious media is the foundation. And when you think about conscious media, I'll just give you a little bit of my own explanation of to what I mean when I say conscious media. When I say conscious media, I mean media that is promoting awareness, media that is promoting reflection, media that is promoting responsibility. And of course, the bigger story in this is media that is literally helping assist and accelerate the shift in consciousness. And what do I mean by that? So let's kind of step backwards a bit, right? The shift in consciousness. What is that? The shift in consciousness is something that is continuously unfolding, and more people are kind of becoming aware of this, but it is this idea of kind of waking up out of the illusion of separation, being able to like see more of what is hidden in plain sight, to be able to see our interconnectedness to the world around us, to be able to become better dreamers within the dream, to know how powerful we are as creators, to step into our abilities as manifestors, to be able to change the world through acts of creativity and compassion, to be courageously compassionate, to stand for love, to be a light guardian. And so again, the opposite of, like, you know, what would be, if we're thinking conscious media, what would be unconscious media? So for example, unconscious media, just in a broad sense, is media that you would watch to kind of tune out to, whereas conscious media is media that you watch to tune into. It's something that kind of nurtures you. It's something that feeds you. It's something that enriches of something inside of you. It's something that inspires you. So you can think about this idea that, like, when we think about the variety of media that's out there, sometimes you'll watch something and it might be entertaining, but that might be it. And then after you watch it, you might just kind of like forget about it like a day later. And that's just kind of like, you know, the instantaneous way of just kind of like, okay, here's a piece of entertainment. I got some dopamine release. It was satisfying. It was fun. But it didn't change my life. It didn't inspire me to make a difference. It didn't make me reflect. It didn't ask me to step into a call to action, right? So a lot of media and everything like that, it still has value because there's still story to it. It can still relate to us. It can still allow us to see ourselves in it, and that's cool. But when we're talking about specifically conscious media, we're talking about, from my way of explaining it, media that consistently carries themes related to consciousness. Themes such as mindfulness, compassion, metaphysics, spirituality, topics that we might not always hear about in mainstream culture. Yet, if you are tuned into this broadcast, it is obviously something that you are interested in, something that you are like naturally drawn to. And it's probably something you're drawn to because there's such an absence of it in our culture, right? You just see like fast food joints, people like just kind of like running through the automation, like news, cars, driving, doing this, work, 9 to 5, taxes, da 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 da. Whereas the conscious media kind of gives you the invitation to kind of like step outside that old narrative, to shift the paradigm, to see the bigger story. And so the why behind conscious media, my why, my personal why behind why I create conscious media, is to be able to plant seeds, is to be able to help inspire people, is to be able to help call people into action, is to be able to nurture the archetypes inside of us that are here to change the world, and to be able to invite people to see the bigger story, the story that they are not just witnessing, but that they themselves are a part of. So, when you're creating media, people are going to continue to follow you, are going to continue to subscribe and watch your videos, not just because of what it is, but because of why it is. And that is one of the foundations when it comes to creating any media. So for everybody here, I want you to start getting into the mindset of thinking, I am a creator. If you are watching this on YouTube, if you are watching this on Facebook, if you're watching this and you have an Instagram, you are a creator. You have a platform, you have a voice, you have an opportunity to tell a story. Ask yourself, what is your why? What is your why? And when you express your why, when you encode that into what it is that you're creating, people will see that. And they will continue to invest their time in you because it will be a why that they will resonate with. It will be a why that they themselves share. So again, another layer to my why is to build a team, is to assemble the squad, is to build this global team of shifters, of light guardians, as real world superheroes, as social alchemists. And so the way that I am doing this is by leading by example, by living my truth, by sharing my story, by getting creative with my heart expression, with my art expression, and by knowing that what I'm creating, it is planting seeds and it is inviting other people to know that they can do that too. And to know that each and every single one of us is a tree that has its roots and connects to the ecosystem around it. And so your why and your media, your story, is what is going to nurture your ecosystem, is going to nurture the community around you, is going to connect with other people. And so, what seeds do you want to plant? What do you want people to get out of when they watch your content? What do you want to accomplish? And so again, you can kind of take this further and further and further, and I'm gonna explain a little bit more, and I also want to just be able to read some of the comments here as well, because again, for those of you who missed it earlier, I was asking you, what does conscious media mean to you? And Steven says, mental and spiritual food to uplift, increase consciousness, and provide information that benefits the well-being of this experience. Beautifully said, Steven. I'm going to reread that again. Mental and spiritual food to uplift, increase consciousness, and provide information that benefits the well-being of this experience. Steven, very well said. He also says, Conscious media can also be information regarding the outer expression of the shadow self in order to shine light on it and to identify and to heal it. Absolutely, right? So again, like conscious media that's a wide topic, right? Absolutely. So again, if anybody else has a comment on what conscious media means to them, go ahead and leave a comment there, and I'll read it up on the screen as well. For those of you tuning in on Instagram, if you haven't already yet, tune in on YouTube. That way, so you can leave your comments in the chat. Go to my Instagram story and swipe up, or just go right to youtube.com/skullbabylon. So again, let me just take a few seconds here. My brain's like kind of thinking on multiple levels here. But yeah, okay. So one of the things I was going to say in relation to Stevens is the idea of thinking about the value of when we create media. I like thinking of the term of media medicine. This is a term that we kind of like formulated. It kind of first came to me like over a year ago when I was talking to some other members of the team. And I'm like, yes, like that is exactly what we're doing. Our media is serving as medicine. It is serving to heal. It is serving to provide a need. It is serving to inspire. And so in the same way that you think like, okay, like if you don't eat your vegetables, if you don't get your sunlight, if you don't get your sleep, your body's going to atrophy. It's going to start to kind of like decompose. You know, things aren't going to function quite in the way they need to, because all of those things are essential. They are fuel for the spirit. And so we need to understand that media can serve that same purpose. Media can also be thought of as food for the spirit, as fuel for the soul. And so when you are creating a post on social media, it might be a video, it might be a live, it might be a meme, but whatever it is, if someone's scrolling through, there's this beautiful notion of the fact that synchronicity will connect the right people to you at the right time, and you don't know how far that post may go. You don't know how relative it might mean to someone else when they see it and they're just like, whoa, this is actually like really relatable to me, or this is speaking to a part of my soul, or this actually gave me a little bit of a boost that maybe I needed in this moment, right? So how many times, like think about that. I mean, for those of you who have watched my videos as an example, how many times have you kind of like maybe watched my video or seen a post, and then after that, you're just like, oh, like I feel better, quote unquote. I feel like a shift. I feel like a little bit more inspired. I feel happier. It brought a smile to my space. It made me feel like something inside my heart. It made me connect with like, you know, maybe more of like the childlike innocence, or the empowered guardian, or like, you know, feeling like I want to go out there and do free hugs or something like that. Think about that. Think about how, just using my conscious media as an example, how has that made you feel? And think about the idea of how you creating that can have that same impact on others. And so again, as conscious media creators, I'm going to kind of like map things out further. What I want to be able to do, I want to be able to, again, like part of my purpose is to be able to help as many people as I can become better conscious media creators, and also to be able to sustain themselves as artists, as creators, as people who are providing value to the community. And so that's something that I want you to just start getting into your mind right away. Because again, some people are going to kind of approach this from different perspectives. Some people are going to be like, okay, yeah, you know, like I've got a 9-to-5 job, but I still enjoy making media on the side. I still enjoy creating the odd meme here and there, the odd woke meme here and there. And it's something I enjoy doing, but it's not my full-time thing. It's not, maybe I don't plan for it to be my full-time thing. But I want you to think about, if this is something that you feel called to, of like, what would it feel like for you to be able to full-time like be supported by the universe in creating and providing content and providing value for the community, to be able to like have that regenerative income, to be able to constantly focus that time and that resource on providing like awesome things and getting that feedback and moving the story forward and planting those seeds and accelerating the shift. I want you to just think, be like, do I want that? Do I want that? Would I want that? Does that sound exciting to me? And so again, part of my purpose, part of my objective is, through the growth of this Paradigm Shift Central project, I want to, over time, and you have to understand, I'm playing this out over the period of time, like this has already been 10 years. Over the course of the next 5 years, we are going to help as many people as we can become sustained in their purpose of being conscious creators, conscious media creators, and providing value to the community. And so I'll talk about this a little bit later, but one thing that I'm going to be getting a little bit deeper with, specifically for my Patreon supporters, is teaching them how to be able to build their Patreon. And the Patreon, for those of you who aren't entirely familiar, and I'll explain this and I'll get a little bit more into a bit more of the why and a bit more of the how. A Patreon is a website, patreon.com, patreon.com. I invite you to check it out. It's revolutionized the creative industry over the past several years. It came out probably about 7 years ago. It's a simple website where people can support artists with monthly micro donations, not even micro donations. Sometimes it's larger donations. And in return, the artist can provide them with special rewards and special perks, special access. And again, it's a great way for people to be able to vote for what they want to see in society, you know? So like, think about that. If you're just like, yo, I really like this creator, I want to see more of this, I'm going to donate $5 to them a month because that doesn't really cost me anything. And knowing energetically that that's helping them continue to provide more of this content for the community. So there are thousands of creators through Patreon that are doing this. They are not being paid by some corporation. They're being supported by the community. They have people signed up to them, hundreds. Some people even have thousands of people signed up to them on Patreon, and they find value in what they do because these people are committing to that path and they are supported, and now they are earning a regular income, thousands of dollars a month even, sometimes more, and they are continuing to be able to do what they do. Patreon is something that anyone can create. Anyone can leverage and anyone can learn how to utilize. So part of what I'm going to be doing in the future, which this is like kind of, again, this broadcast is kind of like me like practicing being able to dive deeper into this, but I'm going to mention a little bit about it now. I want to be able to give you some ideas to start thinking about, like, okay, you know, like, is a Patreon something I want to create? First of all, it doesn't cost any money to create a Patreon. Patreon works in a way where when people sign up at the end of the month, the donations process on the first of each month, and then Patreon as a website takes a percentage of your donations. So there's no upfront cost. There's no risk involved with creating a Patreon. So even by the end of this broadcast, if you're just like, why have I not created a Patreon yet? Maybe I need to. And then you can start from there, which is what the rest of the broadcast we're going to get into. You start formulating into your niche. You start formulating and focusing into your value. You start figuring out how to be able to provide your content, how to reach your audience, how to target your niche, how to build your community. So again, with Patreon, I've been building my Patreon since 2015. And just to give you a little bit of my experience with it, it's been a learning curve. My Patreon, it has been, at times it has been kind of like up, and then there have been times where it went down a bit, and then I had to go up a bit, and then it went down a bit, and then I had to go up a bit. Now, with where I am at, I've figured out a formula that works well for my content, that works well for my project, that is going to continue to keep going up. And that ability for it to continue keep going up, as I continue to prove that this works for myself, my objective is to be able to continue to help my friends be able to utilize a similar pattern, a similar method, a similar formula, so that they too can be able to earn Patreon supporters, so that each month they can get like 20, 30, 40 new Patreon supporters at a few dollars a month. And again, imagine if you invest like a couple months into Patreon, suddenly you're getting like $500 extra a month. How much of a difference would that make for you? How much free time would that open up for you? And how much inspiration would that allow you to just be like, holy crap, holy shit, if I keep focusing on this, this can happen. This can keep growing. So Patreon is such a powerful platform. Huge shout out to them. And again, for those of you who are watching this, absolutely, you're invited to be able to support on the Patreon. I'm not going to get too into it right at the second. When you do sign up on the Patreon, you can sign up at the $3, the $5, the $11, the higher levels. Check out my Patreon as an example to be able to just kind of see how I got mine set up. I'm still refining it over time. And also, if you want to be able to connect deeper with me as a conscious curator, as a conscious consultant for you, then go ahead and sign up at the $11 level on the Patreon, which allows you to join as a leading member. So there's a lot of value in that. So we'll talk more about that, and we'll kind of relate it back, because again, part of what I want to be able to talk to you about in terms of being a conscious media creator is understanding how to provide value. What is the value that you're providing for the community? So thank you again. We'll just take a quick moment here. If anybody has any questions about Patreon, go ahead and let me know in the chat before I jump into the next topic. Shout out to those of you tuning in on Twitch as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in, especially if it's your first time. Just a quick reminder, if you haven't already yet, go ahead and like our new team Instagram page, and you can also jump over on youtube.com/SkullBabylon to be able to join in on there as well. Shout out to some of our Patreon supporters who are tuned into this. Rose, one of our leading members, thank you so much. Happy to see you in the chat. Morphic Crystal as well. Shout out to multiple people. Anna, Sisa, thank you for joining in as well. Any other Patreon supporters? Amanda, thank you as well. So many people here. I just want to give a shout out to everyone. Neil, Maureen, Jackie, Nicole, Summer, lots of people. Justin Hayes, one of my OG paradigm shifters from back in the day. Thank you again, everyone, for just being here as well, and for supporting what we are creating here together, and for you investing in yourself. If you're watching this broadcast, again, you're taking the time to just be able to plant the seeds, and for you to just start thinking a little bit more about what it means to be a conscious media creator and how you might want to pursue that a little bit more. So within the team Instagram page, one of the things I'll just mention to you, this is just, again, if there's any questions about Patreon, leave those now and I'll answer those. I just want to mention a little thing about the Instagram page. That's really, really cool, because I think it's something that I have never seen an Instagram page do quite before. And so with the Instagram page that we have, Paradigm Shift Central on Instagram, all the people that I'm following on that account are all conscious media creators. So what you can actually do is that you can actually go to the Paradigm Shift Central Instagram page and then go to that list of people who I am following, pay attention to that, and go ahead and follow all of those people, because each and every single one of them is like a badass creator. And I literally have like a list of like 300 plus conscious media creators. And so again, part of what I feel called to do, based on reflecting on the question of like what is needed, what does the community need right now, is again bringing all of these creators who I've had the honor and privilege of connecting with over the past several years, and being able to help provide a connection between them and the bigger audience, to be able to help link them up, to be able to help feature their content. And yeah, so I'm really excited to be able to use our Instagram page in a way that I have not seen an Instagram page used before, which was something I was like very passionate about. I was like, yes, like that's what I want to be able to do. I want it, like, how can I use Instagram in a way that no one has ever used it before? So, all right, okay. So again, if anybody here has any questions about Patreon in general, not just my Patreon, just Patreon in general, go ahead and let me know. Another thing I will just mention with Patreon. So just quick clarification. You can set up your Patreon where people donate based on single creations. So say every time you create a new video or every time you create a new podcast, people donate. Or you can do it monthly, and then people donate at the end of each month. For mine, I do it monthly, because every month I'm creating lots of content. I'm, again, doing these weekly broadcasts, facilitating that, creating other videos, etc., etc., etc. So I'll talk more about the Patreon a little bit later, but again, for those of you interested in it, please feel free to ask me any questions about it off air as well. And absolutely, add your support, and know that you supporting me is not just supporting me, it's supporting the community, and it's also an investment for yourself, especially when you sign up at the $11 level as a leading member, which also gives you the ability to be featured through the project, through our Instagram page, and through the main website. So all right, okay, so I didn't see any questions about the team Patreon, which is cool. Steven, thank you for sharing your link. If anybody here, for everybody here, please feel free to drop your Instagram handles into the chat. I would love for everybody here just to be able to like connect with other people on Instagram. Okay, so let's go through some of my, again, like I said, I appreciate you guys holding space, because this is, again, I didn't have days to plan this out. This is a busy week for me, and it was only about like probably earlier this morning that I'm like, okay, it looks like I'm gonna be talking about this topic for the broadcast today, and here's some notes, and let's take a swing at it. So So this is good practice for me. And again, also a chance for me to be able to answer any questions that you might have. All right, let's go a little bit further. Okay. So, as a conscious media creator, I want you to think about what your role is. And I want you to kind of understand this idea of like what you were doing when you were leading people. And there's a very powerful idea that I want to be able to share with you. And before I do that, I'm actually just going to blow my nose, but I'm not going to do it on air. So give me 2 seconds because I'm still getting over a cold, and that's why we didn't do a broadcast last week. Give me 1 second. You guys are so patient. And with the magic of technology, we are back. All right. Okay, so like I said, I just want to be able to focus a little bit more on the why, just for a little bit more. Okay. All right, for those of you tuning in on Twitch, thanks again for joining in, and yeah, I'll answer any relevant questions. All right, so as a creator, as a conscious media creator, one of the things that I want you to be able to think about is the idea that you are leading people. And where are you leading people to? This was a question that I asked myself once, and it was like something that like I really just kind of like had to sit with. I'm like, okay, like I'm a leader, I'm leading people. Where am I leading people to? And the answer that came to me was incredibly simple, but incredibly profound. The answer was we, not just me, we are leading people back to the wisdom of their own heart. And so as a conscious media creator, again, if you're already tuned into this broadcast, then you're starting to wake up to the idea that like every single person is their own guru. Every single person has this internal wisdom. Every single person is this soul that's kind of like awakening to who they really are. And so with this vision in mind, what we are doing as content creators is we are kind of serving as the finger pointing to the moon. You know, it's like that Bruce Lee quote. It's like, don't get distracted by the finger itself, but instead like focus on what it is pointing to. Focus on what it is really referencing, which is like the glory of the moon, the mission itself. And so for us, think of yourself as being an ambassador for consciousness, an ambassador for knowledge, and then start reflecting and start narrowing down what are the things that you are most excited to be able to curate. What are the things that you're excited to be able to talk to people about? What are the things that you have personally been interested about? What were the things that made you go aha during your journey? And how can you maybe help other people connect those dots? How can you help other people see that for themselves? And I think this is kind of the beautiful thing about it, is that oftentimes, you know, like as we're kind of like in this journey, we kind of go through this process where basically like, you know, yeah, man, like I've been so spiritual for like 10 years now. I know all about like meditation and lucid dreaming and dimensions and metaphysics. But there's still a bunch of your friends who might be waking up to this stuff for the first time. And how can you possibly be that person that might serve as an ambassador, that might serve as a conduit to be able to help them understand more about this, to be able to help them learn more about these topics? So what I want you to do for everybody here, if you were to just create videos, if you were to just think like, okay, this week or this month, I'm going to create a YouTube channel. I want you to list 5 things that you would be most excited to talk about. 5 things that you would be most excited to make a video about. And when you are focusing on being a creator, that's one thing that I really want to be able to provide with you. I want you to be able to get into that practice of following your excitement, of listening to your excitement. Think about that as a creator. Listen to your heart and really get good at listening to your heart and kind of ask yourself and be like, okay, like what am I most excited to make? Because what you are most excited to make is also kind of like your heart basically like asking you to make it, being able to kind of say to you like, yes, this is what is needed. This is what is coming through. This is what you can serve as an ambassador for the community to be able to help be that bridge even further. So for everybody here, I want you to be able to drop comments in the chat. Give me 5 topics that you are most excited to create content about. It might not necessarily be a video, it could be even like a meme or something like that. It could be an article, but I just want you to kind of like think in your head and type this into the chat. And I want to be able to read through what you are sharing as well. And to be able to just like provide some examples of what we are creating together as a community. And like, that's the beauty of this. There is no shortage of topics to cover. There's no shortage of content to create. There's literally unlimited content that we can create. And hey, just because somebody else has made a video about meditation or mindfulness or metaphysics or sacred geometry, doesn't mean that you can't, doesn't mean that you shouldn't. You can create that too, because you're going to create that and it's going to reach your unique network, your unique ecosystem of, again, this forest. Like, you are a tree and there's like this network around you and you are connecting with people into it. And so I'll read a little bit about that on air. And I just want to go back a bit. There are a few comments that I didn't get to the first time. Morphic says, conscious media to me is connecting to souls who are aligned to my purpose of what information I wish to obtain. We are books in the flesh, cosmic blood encoded. Beautifully said, Morphic. Julia says, this is amazing. Just last night, I went through my IG and saved all of my old photos, ready to delete and create a new IG, and was thinking of what I want to share and what it means. Beautiful. Awesome, Julia. Thank you so much for sharing as well. Quick reminder for those of you who aren't already, again, if you're just listening to this and you haven't connected to our team chat, please connect to our team chat. I'll post a link for that. Do I have? Yeah. Okay. I'll get a temporary link right here. Okay. I'm posting a link for the team chat in the YouTube team chat. So if you haven't connected to our team chat yet, like, please connect with it. Cause like, that's kind of like between broadcasts. That's where like we collaborate as a team. Okay. All right, again, like I said, this is just practice broadcast, so I know I'm kind of like talking about a couple things at once, and there's still like a huge list that I want to be able to go through. So again, part of what we're doing is we're helping people connect the dots, and we're helping like open people's hearts. Like, that's such a meaningful thing, right? When you think about that idea that after someone watches a piece of your content or sees a piece of sees something that you've created, it creates an impact. It leaves an impression. It changes them ever so slightly. It connects to their heart. It opens something up. And if you've experienced some of my content, use my content as reference. Pay attention to that and mimic it. Make your own versions of it. Kind of create it in a way that's your unique expression, yet still maybe similar. That's okay. I give you permission. I give you permission to create videos that may be similar to mine, that may be free hugs, that may be like some sort of funny meme with dogs talking about consciousness or something like that. So what I want to be able to invite us to do is to see that by beginning to put out this information, we are helping people connect the dots. And also, we have to begin thinking about what is the value? What is the value that we are creating? What is the value that we are providing for the community? And so for me, what is the value that I am providing? There's a lot of value that I'm providing. I'm providing inspiration. I am providing guided meditations. I am providing humor. I am providing connection for community. I am providing a hub. I am providing an opportunity to feature people. I am providing my personal time to be able to consult with people one-on-one about media. I am providing my ability for the fact that I went to school for X number of years learning how to do media to be able to like give that information to other people so that they can learn it too. And so again, I want you to kind of start thinking and start kind of figuring out like, what is your niche? What is your value that you want to create? And there's an important part about this I will take a step back to in a second, but I just want to go back to what we were originally talking about here, where I was inviting people to leave in the comments things that they were created about being able to create. Julia says she is excited to share, number 1, how important you are. Everyone is here for a reason. We have a purpose. Beautiful, Julia. Number 2, high vibration food. Awesome. Number 3, meditation. Awesome. Number 4, qigong. And number 5, art. Beautiful, Julia. So again, like that's a short list, but that's just like a beginning of a list that could be way longer as well once you start kind of like thinking about all the things that you're excited to create. So what I want to be able to do is, again, I want each of us here to just take a moment to just connect with our breath, because what's important when it comes to being a creator is acknowledging your value. Already, I want you to acknowledge your value. And I want you to just begin to realize how worthy you are of the value that you have to share. To be able to, actually, there's another part to this, and we'll kind of tie it in, but it will come a little bit later. But it's the importance of being able to focus on a high value skill, something unique, something that's uncommon, something that, again, is like of service to the community that you can uniquely provide. But right now, I just want everyone to just connect with their heart and just take a breath here. And I want you to just give yourself permission to acknowledge how much value you have to provide, how much value you have to bring to the community. So just take a couple breaths here and just give yourself that permission, and do this a few times of the day, and just start encoding this story into your heart, encoding it into your life. Take a nice gentle breath, big exhale. I am valuable. I have value. I am providing value. I am making a difference. I am planting seeds. I am inspiring people. I am leading them back to their hearts. I am helping inspire them to choose to be the change they wish to see. I am helping them step into their archetypes as leaders. I am helping them awaken the artists within. I am providing space. I'm providing comfort. I'm providing community. I'm providing connection. Open-hearted, like-minded, like-hearted connection. Each and every single one of us here. Again, if you are tuned into this broadcast, your mission is a continuation of my mission, of our mission, to be able to help inspire people to choose to be the change that they wish to see. And how do we do that? It's a great question. And that's the question that we will continue to live. And out of asking that question, that is where we will begin to find our guidance. That is where we will begin to find our direction. That is how we will begin to understand what is needed. So, just take another deep breath here. Big gentle exhale. I am a badass creator. I am an extension of the creative energies of the universe itself. I have the power to create inspiration, to create life, and I have the power to do it through my art. I have the power to do it through my actions. So give yourself permission to acknowledge how powerful of a creator you are. How badass of a creator you are. So take one more death here. Beautiful. All right. So again, just kind of bringing it back to the big picture. My intention, my purpose, quite simple: to inspire people to choose to be the change they wish to see. Going back to the roots of, think about Gandhi and things like that. But specifically, it's the idea of choice. Choose to be the change they wish to see, and to understand that they have that choice. That they have that choice to be different. That they have that choice to be what they are here to be. To do something different. To go against the norm. To do something that society isn't expecting them to do. But to do something that is deeply important to them. So, how can you, the person listening to this, help inspire people to choose to be the change they wish to see? Think about that. And by asking that question, I literally want to invite you to even just write this out in a journal, either during this broadcast right now or afterwards. When you ask these questions of how and what, the universe will provide. The universe will give you the insight through your heart. So specifically, again, that question of how do I inspire people to choose to be the change they wish to see? But more simply, to simplify it even more, one of the most powerful questions that we as creators can ask that we as community creators and community leaders can ask is the question of what is needed. What is needed? Ask yourself that question. And I want you to even practice answering that into the chat right now. I want you to practice answering that, and literally in whatever context that means to you. I'm not being specific, but ask yourself, what is needed for us as community, for us as individuals, for us as a collective and a whole, for the entire world, for us as creators. So if you think about that question, if you wake up asking that question, what is needed? What is needed today? What is needed from me today? What am I going to do today to be able to help make an impact, to plant a seed, to create an impression, to inspire someone? You'll find the answer. The answer will come to you. It will come through your heart. And when you are practicing being that conduit, being that ambassador, being that bridge, the universe gets good at telling you what is needed. And you get good at listening to what is needed. So that is a very powerful question. And again, like even for myself, like I'll do that where it's like, in a broad context, but still specific, I'll be like, like how can I help change the world today? Right? Like how can you help change the world today? If you think about that, if you think about just asking yourself that, if you wake up every morning as a creator and just think, how can I help change the world today? Knowing that every single post, every single piece of content, it is. And when you're going to get better at creating more impactful content. And maybe that's kind of like where, again, that's a little bit of the learning curve, right? You might be a person who's kind of like creating content and you feel like you're putting it out there, but it's not landing. It's not hitting people where you want them to be hit. It's not connecting quite in the way you want it to be done. And so rather than just kind of like repeating the same process that's not fully yielding the same results, there's opportunities there to begin shifting. And that's where we start learning a little bit more of the how, a little bit more of the technicalities behind being a conscious media creator, so that instead of just being, like, again, like I've seen this before. I've seen people who like, they're pouring their heart and soul into this content, but maybe there's a few extra steps that they haven't implemented, and therefore they're not reaching their audience. And so again, like instead of just seeing someone like pour their soul into creating some sort of like awesome video, but then 20 people watch it, let's spend a week learning about the technicalities so that they can do that same project, but then get thousands of people to watch it, right? Because again, this is very important. And I'll say this to you, as an ambassador of consciousness, you have to be an ambassador for your content as well. So don't allow yourself to fall into a place of kind of like, I don't want to call it laziness. I don't want it to sound mean, but again, I've seen some people who kind of, they might create something, they might post it, and then they're just like, oh, I trust that whoever's meant to see it will see it. And that's fair. I understand what they're saying, but we have to meet the universe halfway, and we have to help be an ambassador for that content. We have to help get it out there further. We have to help expand our network. We have to create those meaningful impressions. So another very, 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 very important thing to mention, and this is honestly, I'm surprised I didn't mention this earlier, but it's going to make sense that I'm mentioning it now. And before I do that, I'll just read some of the comments that people left in the chat asking about the why, the what is needed. Diane Art, one of our followers on Instagram, hey, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in, says, what is needed? To be more heart-centered instead of in my head. Good emphasis. Thanks. So again, that's great, right? Like you were taking that in a more personal level. So it's like, what is needed? It's like, oh, okay, maybe there's personal things that I need to be able to relate to. Great, of course. Guthrer, sorry, I'm pronouncing your name wrong, says, we also change the world by changing our perspective. When we can change our perspective, we change how we view the world and world changing around us. Absolutely, right? So again, like that brings it back to the whole idea of the paradigm shift. When you change the way you see the world, when you change the way you see the world, you change, I butchered that. Was it when you change, when like you change, the world changes when you change the way you look at it, something along those lines. Anyways, okay. Let me just double check. There's a few more. I just want to make sure that there's no other comments that I'm missing here. Okay, so if anybody else had wanted to reflect on that question of like what is needed, what is needed, what is needed. But okay, so this is something very, very important that I want to be able to mention to you. And then we're going to keep doing this broadcast maybe for another like 40 minutes, and then we're going to wrap it up because my voice, I'm going to get tired eventually. So, but thank you again, everyone, for holding space. I really appreciate this. And let me know, let me know if you're finding value in this, in me just kind of babbling on. And again, this is just practice for me being able to, eventually what I'm going to do, I'm going to create like a module system that has this information in like clear, concise, easy to follow steps. That's part of my vision. That's part of what I feel is needed. But sorry, just, okay, again, I'm kind of thinking a couple things at once. Going back to that question of what is needed, the idea of what is needed for me, again, like that has inspired me to do this broadcast. That has inspired me to create the Paradigm Shift Central project, as well as most recently, the team Instagram page, right? Can you understand that? Where I'm like kind of like looking at the community and I'm like, what is needed? As in, what is missing? What is absent? What is not there? What could be there? And so again, the team Instagram page, I'm like, yo, dope. Let's create a single team Instagram page where when we grow it collectively, it becomes this super powerful laser of love where we can feature people's content and boost their content, and I can help all my friends go viral. That is what is needed. That is powerful. And so that was, again, that came out of me asking that question. So I just wanted to create some context there. And again, a lot of my content is that, like a lot of my Instagram, like my memes and stuff like that, I'll kind of feel into the energy of the day, feel into the astrology, feel into the energetics of what's happening in the matrix right now. What is needed? What do people need to hear? And you don't necessarily have to like be like, yes, this is it. But lo and behold, when you put something out, there's always going to be someone who will be like, yo, that's what I needed. And when you get that confirmation, that's really, really powerful. So as a creator, as a conscious creator, this is such a powerful idea that I want to be able to share with you. As I pull my light guardian crystal to my forehead. So what you are doing as a conscious media creator, you are not just, it's not just you as a creator and your audience. That is it, but there's more to it. I want you to start understanding that what you're actually doing is building relationships. And when you really value the relationships that you are building, you can begin to approach them differently. You can begin to approach them with more intention. And you can understand why every single person who's following you is important. Because every single person is a unique relationship that they have with you. And so when you create a post, when you create a video, when you create content, how are you creating that relationship, and how are you evolving that relationship? What is the story that is taking place over time? So again, for me, using my own content as an example, the relationship that I'm creating is that when people connect to my work, I want them to not only see my story, but to see themselves in my story. And that in itself is a huge, huge, huge tip that I'm giving to you. Allow people to see themselves in your story, to see themselves in your content. But when I create this content, what I'm doing is I'm creating a relationship that can feel very personable to people. People, they're watching my content, but they're like, yo, like, I feel like I know this guy. I feel like it's like very personal. And this relationship is one where I'm like, yo, if we're in a relationship together, then it's a relationship where I am calling you into your power, where I am calling you into your potential, where I am holding you up to your purpose, where I am seeing you for who you are and who you are here to become. And just by me holding that space and just being like, yo, I see that, I see that, I see that, I see that, it allows that relationship to serve. It allows that relationship to lift someone up. So imagine how like somebody who's going to connect to your content, what it would feel like for them. What would it feel like for them to be able to perhaps be going from a shift where maybe they don't have the support, they don't have the connection, they don't have the community, and yet you create a piece of content that really relates to them, and then you send a direct message to them, or they send a direct message to you, or they take their time to comment, And then your engagement with them means so much to them that they're just like, yo, this is a spark. This is a spark that I needed. This is a spark that's actually gonna like bring me more into my purpose. That's gonna awaken me out of my sleepwalk. That's gonna bring me into more of that higher calling. And so think about that. Think about that. That you are building a relationship with every single person in your social media. They are not just your audience, and they're going to be different relationships for people who are going to resonate in different ways. Some of them are just going to watch. Some of them are just going to like. Some of them are going to reach out. Some of them are going to comment. So you're going to have kind of like different tiers, different degrees of relationships that you're creating over time with what it is that you are doing. And those relationships are incredibly, incredibly important. Another thing that I will mention here that's incredibly valuable for every single person here. This is going to be very relative for some, but may not be fully relative to others. As we move into this new age where anyone can be an artist, anyone can be a creator, anyone can have their own YouTube page, I want you to be able to understand that you are your own brand. You are your own brand, meaning that how you live is showing people what you're creating, is like, you know, like a window into like by them seeing you, like they are also being able to decide whether they want to be able to continue investing their time in what it is that you are creating, in what it is that you're providing value with. So this is where we need to be very mindful with what we post. And as we become more of like this, like stepping into our role as entrepreneurs, as creators, we really do need to take responsibility for what we post. Now, take this with a grain of salt, because there's going to be different situations for different occasions, but be aware, think twice about something that you post before you post it, and ask yourself, do I need to post it? For example, there are going to be times where maybe there's like, maybe something happened, maybe someone offended you, maybe someone left a nasty comment on a post, or maybe you have like a community that you're building and there's someone that's kind of trolling and things like that. If you spend time focusing on drama, then other people are going to see that and they're going to associate your brand with drama. And if you saw someone doing that, would that turn you off? Think about it. Think about that. So you have to be very mindful. And I'm not to say you don't deal with these situations. You can deal with them behind the scenes. And there are ways that I want to be able to teach you of how to deal with like situations like that when people, you know, like might be rude and might post comments and things like that, because that's a very important part of the how. But just be aware that like every single thing that you post is a representation of your brand, because you are your brand. And so, not to say I don't want you to fake it. I don't want you to pretend that you never get sad. I don't want you to pretend that you're always happy. I want you to be honest. I want you to be authentic. But I also want you to be responsible, because this is what's important. People will resonate to your authenticity, and they will resonate with your responsibility for yourself. So think about that. Like that is what people are actually looking for in today's day and age. Like that, perhaps some of you would say that about me, right? Like they're just like, it's like, yo, like Brett, like why do you like me? It's just like, because I exude a degree of authenticity. I am living my truth. I am living my passion. I'm showing up here. I'm living my purpose, and I'm inviting you to do the same. And your authenticity is your brand. And when other people see that, that is very attractive to them. And just be aware of how you present yourself, knowing that every single thing that you do feeds into your story, right? So say for example, you're like, just say for example, you're watching someone on Instagram and you're just like, yo, this person's really cool. Like they're super awesome. They're super polite. They're super positive. They're super encouraging. And then they might put up a post where maybe it's just them like ripping a fan apart, and there's like, oh, this is so stupid, or they might just post like a really polarizing topic, or they just might like bring in a topic of discussion that maybe just like is totally out of left field, and then suddenly, just like that, you're just like, oh, Like, whoa, what? Like, do I want that? Like, do I still want that? So understand that, like, not to try and make it feel like there's a sense of pressure, but more so just be responsible. Be aware. Be aware of how you are leading, and lead in ways that are balanced. Lead in ways that are authentic. Lead in ways that are going to continue to invite people back. And again, that doesn't mean sometimes you won't get raw, but just be aware of how you get, like, how you present that rawness. And maybe there's a time and a place for it. And maybe just because you have something that you think you might want to post, maybe you don't need to post it. Would it do more harm than good? And so this is when you start getting into the idea of, again, the how of, like, by you growing as a conscious media creator, you're creating community. You're creating a network. And that network has an ecosystem, and that ecosystem has a health to it. And what you want to be able to do is to be able to maintain the healthiness of this ecosystem. So I'll just focus on this just briefly, and then we're going to get a little bit more into a whole bunch of other stuff that we have. So, just as a quick example, here's one of the best pieces of advice I could give you as a creator. As a creator, you are responsible for your community. Literally you. No one else, you. You are responsible for your Instagram page. You have absolute full control, full power over your Instagram page, over your YouTube, over your Facebook. You are the king and the queen of that domain. You are fully responsible for it. Therefore, you have the responsibility, the choice, and the freedom to make the executive decision to remove things that do not serve the ecosystem that you are creating. For example, if you are posting something and someone leaves a comment on a post that is just totally either mean, outlandish, or just not related, or just a completely different thing, and it doesn't feel right with you, delete it, remove it. Very simple. The best advice that I can give you is this: block and bless. Practice getting good at that. Block and bless. If you see something and really check in with yourself, and someone might be calling you out, or not even calling you out, but someone might just be like bringing drama to you, and if it's relative, you can be like, okay, maybe I do have to address this, and maybe I'm going to address it privately. But if it's like totally unnecessary, and you're just like, hey, that's not serving my chat, that's not serving my discussion, that's not serving my community, block and bless. Meaning remove them and move on. Focus. Do not let other people push you off your purpose. Do not let other people try and distract you from your purpose, or try to like take the train off the tracks, so to speak. For example, we are here live on YouTube right now. If someone were to come into this YouTube chat and were to just like start leaving comments that were totally unrelated, you know, if they were just like, you know, just like really mean, or just like totally off topic or something like that, without even saying why, I would literally just block them. And the reason for this is because, and I need you to listen to this carefully, the community is more important than the individual. Now take that with context, because it's going to be relative, but I want you to understand what I'm saying there. Do not let a single person infect the waters of a community. If you are building a community, for example, a team chat, and again, it could be a Discord channel, it could be, again, like something on YouTube, it could be your Instagram, and you're building this, and it's healthy, and it's healthy, and it's healthy, it only takes like one person to show up and to start bringing in drama, and to start bringing in unnecessary energy. And then suddenly, if that continues and left unchecked, the rest of the community would suddenly be like, yo, like, I don't feel called to be here anymore. Like, it doesn't feel fun to be here anymore. So you need to be responsible for when you're building community, for when you're building your Instagram page. If there's any moment where you feel something that is not in alignment with your purpose, that is not in alignment with your vision, in a very nonchalant, non-personal way, know that you can choose to block and bless any single person. It is your social media channel. You have the right to be able to do that. And they'll move on. Like they'll just go on to other things, right? Because like if they were meant to be there, they would have stayed. If they weren't meant to be there, then it's okay too, because they just kind of revealed it to you that was like a decision that they made for you, kind of thing, you know? So let me know if that makes sense, because I think that's a very important thing. And again, that comes from experience. That literally, that me saying that comes from wisdom that I've acquired over 10 years of building online community. And I've tried building community in different ways. You know, like we've had Discord chats where I'm just like, I'm just going to open this up to anyone. And it was kind of like an experiment. And we had this chat and we just invited anyone. And there was like awesome people coming in, things like that. And then eventually, like some people started joining and their alignment just wasn't quite like in check with what the project was about. And then slowly the chat just kind of like, you know, it kind of goes like this. There's kind of like this honeymoon phase. But if it's left unchecked, then eventually one little troll or one little like piece of like, you know, like a virus can infect a system, and then suddenly boom, it might die off, right? And so within the Paradigm Shift Central project, we've grown things to the point where now it is like much more stable. It is such an awesome ecosystem. Like, and again, this comes from me being able to create the containers for being able to honor those who are there to work alongside in a supportive, healthy environment. And anybody who is not there to create and support that healthy environment, block and bless. And that's it. So let me know if that makes sense. For those of you in the chat, drop an 1111 if that resonates with you. Because again, moving forward as a conscious creator, that is super, super, super important. So, all right. Okay, so we're going to keep moving along here. If there's any other questions for people in the chat, please feel free to let me know. I want to get more into focusing on quite a few things here. We've definitely talked about, again, the hows and the whys, kind of interrelated, but there are quite a few other topics here that I wanted to be able to go over, though we have actually covered quite a few of them, just in different form. Okay, just give me a second. I can feel like my voice is getting sore already, so I'm going to have to not do a broadcast for 5 hours. Oh no. For those of you tuning in on Instagram, if you haven't already yet, go ahead and swipe up on my Instagram story to tune in on YouTube, but you could probably keep watching there too. It's not a big deal because it's literally just me on the broadcast. But either way, if you jump up on YouTube, go ahead, and if for anybody on YouTube, go ahead and like this video. Quick call to action. If anybody here is like tuned into this, and if we can get a Patreon sign up during this broadcast, then I'll give away a shifter booster kit to somebody else tuned into this broadcast. So I'm just going to post a link for the Patreon into the chat. And if somebody signs up to the Patreon, let me know in the chat. Be like, yo, I just signed up. And then I'll tell you, we'll create like a little special option for somebody to get a free shifter booster kit for those of you tuned in right now. And just a quick heads up, I'm going to be doing a lot more tarot readings this week because it's almost the end of the month. So we're going to be doing the tarot readings and focusing on building up the Patreon before the end of the month. Before the end of the month. Okay. All right. Yeah, my voice is getting sore. I can feel. How long has it? We've been going for like 90 minutes. That's why. All right. Give me 1 second. I just need to clear my throat. And I'm back. All right. Quick little intermission here for those of you who haven't checked it out yet. Again, through our questitemshop.com, you can also find the shift buttons. Shift buttons are awesome tools that we have within the community. They have the Paradigm Shift Central website on the rim. You use them, you wear them, you share them to be able to help assist and accelerate the shift in consciousness, and they connect people back to the project, the main website, the Instagram, the team chat, the podcast, the broadcast. And every single one is like created with like intentional consciousness shifting imagery on them. And again, they're not just like, I'm not just selling them to you, like I'm providing them to you as tools because they work and they're awesome and I want more people to be able to have them. So go ahead and check those out at questitemshop.com. And when you sign up on Patreon, you can also get a discount. And when you sign up on Patreon, you can also get a discount on Light Guardian crystals and other items from the shop. And you can also get a Light Guardian crystal for a pay what you wish single contribution. Or if you sign up at the $11, you can also get one of the Lumerian Light Guardian crystals. This one's one of the Lumerian ones. This one's huge. I think this one's like, I think I'm keeping this one though. This one's just like so freaking beautiful. I just feel really called to it. So we got lots of other beautiful ones too. So anyways, all right, let's keep moving along. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to let me know in the chat and we'll just keep moving along with this. I want to be able to get this broadcast wrapped up in about 30 minutes. But again, one of the things that I was going to mention in terms of the why, I think a really important thing in terms of the why, in terms of creating content, is the idea of being able to lead by example, live by example, create a story that people can be a part of, that they themselves can see themselves in, and to be able to create calls to action. Calls to action are super, super important. And if you follow my content, you know that that's something that I do quite often. It's something that I definitely like encourage people who follow my content to do. You know, it's like, hey, here's Brendon. I'm downtown doing free hugs again. I want you to do this too, you know? And those type of calls to action are so important because again, it changes the audience from being a viewer to being an active participant, to moving them into that role of leadership, to giving them that incentive, to giving them that invitation to know that like this is something that they can do, and by doing it, they're like a part of the story. So example, like for us with our free hugs, if you use the hashtag #FreeHugsForever, you'll show up in our team feed as well. And that's like a really cool incentive for anybody. So for anybody here who's doing free hugs on Instagram or Facebook, use the hashtag #FreeHugsForever to be able to like get your stuff featured. And then we can like tag it into the Paradigm Shift Central page. And we're going to be featuring lots more free hugs there moving forward in the future. So think about creating calls to action. So focusing more on the hows of conscious media creation, video creation. Video creation is so important, and not just video creation in terms of filming a pre-recorded video, but also video creation in terms of filming a live video, off of either Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. So when we get in front of a camera to be able to create a live video, I want you to be able to approach it with the idea of practice. It's this very simple notion that you cannot steer a parked car. You have to get moving in order to be able to figure out how to navigate. And so for a lot of people, I know that even people listening to this broadcast, they're just like, yo, like I really want to create content, but I'm not sure about creating video because I've never done video. Well, one of the ways in which you can do video is to literally just do video, right? To begin approaching it as practice. And this is what I had to do back when I started my YouTube channel. I was literally creating content with the idea of doing it, knowing that this was preparing me for other content that I was going to be creating further down the road. So each piece of content, each piece of video that you make can be thought of as practice for the next video. And so when it comes to videos and things like that, we're in this age where literally everyone has a camera on their phone. And so there is this opportunity to be able to get yourself on camera and to be able to practice. And again, going back to this idea that by creating video, you're creating the invitation for people to develop a relationship, to develop a more of an in-depth relationship with what it is that you are sharing, with what it is that you are inviting them to be a part of. So videos are incredibly important because obviously they incorporate all of the mediums, you know, like video, image, audio, music, poetry, anything of that nature. And especially as you start getting better at video editing, that really opens up this idea of unlimited possibilities. And that's why I personally love making video content, because it is one of those ideas of if you can think of it, if you can imagine it, you can create it. And you can get very, very creative when it comes to creating video. For those of you interested for video editing, I use a software called Adobe Premiere Pro, which people can license monthly for about $30, but there is a trial. So I would highly encourage you, if you're just thinking about creating video, to go ahead and check out Adobe Premiere. You can download it, install it on your computer, assuming your computer is decent enough. And then you can plug your iPhone into your computer and you can offload files. On Macintosh, it's probably on PC too. There's a program called iExplorer, like the letter I Explorer. That is a good program that I use for copying files off my phone onto my desktop, which I then use for editing. But you can also, of course, get into editing right on your phone. A good program that I would encourage people to edit with on their phone for those on iOS is an app called Video Leap. I do want to be able to provide you with more information for apps that I would recommend for Android. I do not have an Android, so that's something that I obviously have to get a little bit more research on before I can fully suggest. But I'm sure if you just run a search on video editing software within the Android Play Store, you'll be able to find something. And again, just begin practicing, begin creating, begin doing a little assignment where you're even sharing poetry on camera, Or a simple project you could do would be to like film nature, and then to be able to like add in a voiceover of some sort of like you talking about nature, you talking about inspiration, you talking about spirit, you talking about soul, something that you're excited about, and then like interlacing the video of nature with your voiceover and creating this like really like peaceful, solemn kind of like, you know, just like very melodic, poetic piece of content that would stand out. That would be a little bit of something that would go, you know, that would get people's attention. That would look a little bit more than just like a regular raw video. But at the same time, one-shot videos are actually incredibly valuable. So I don't want to spend too much time talking about video editing. Obviously, I could, but again, I just want to be able to encourage and inspire you that, yeah, video editing is such a powerful thing. Other quick tips I will mention is that for those of you who don't know, you can actually upload video to IGTV from your desktop. A lot of people don't actually know this. So what you could actually do, for example, you could actually film, this may be easiest for some people. If you have QuickTime on your computer on either Mac or PC, you can record a video from your webcam in QuickTime, and hopefully your audio is decent enough. And then you can literally just like save that file to your computer. Or if you've already gotten a file and you've like filmed it off your phone, and then you can like transfer it to your computer, and then you can upload that as an IGTV video into Instagram. And so that's something that a lot of people don't know. They don't even know that they can log into Instagram within their desktop browser. But you can actually do that, and you can actually upload the longer video formats instead of just the 1-minute video. So just keep that in mind. Again, the more detailed aspects of like how to be able to like do all like the tips and tricks of posting content and editing, that's content that I'm saving later on for more of my Patreon supporters, and also things that they can just be able to connect with me personally through one-on-one consultation. So if that's stuff where you're just like, hey, I really want to invest in that a little bit more, then definitely consider signing up to the Patreon, because again, think of the Patreon as like an investment for yourself. And again, over time, I just want to be able to like build all these awesome resources that are helping give people the instructions for being able to learn more about all the like the ways of how I create media and how I upload and how I create content. And I'm sure you guys see that on my Instagram, how I have it formatted in like certain visual elements and the way how that looks and the way how it stands out. But with video content, with any content, you really do want to be able to create something that's going to stand out. And I don't really want to focus on that too much, because I don't want it to be something that you feel puts pressure on you creating. But I do want you to keep in mind of how can I create something that will stand out? How can I create something that will be a little bit different? Oftentimes, that could be something such as humor. There's a desperate need for more woke humor, for more conscious humor. So maybe try doing a little bit of like a conscious humor video. And again, that could be something where you're literally filming it with your camera, and you film it, and you're like kind of doing one of those things where you're like talking to yourself as two people, or you're like just kind of like filming. It could be inspired by some other video. Just start getting creative, and again, start practicing, start exploring, and start giving yourself permission to know that with every single video you make, you're getting yourself ready for more videos that you're going to make further down the road. So, Alistair says iShot is good for Android. Thank you, Alistair. Or sorry, InShot, INSHOT, InShot for Android. So for those of you who are on Android, check that out. And for those of you on iOS, check out VideoLeap. VideoLeap is a monthly subscription, but I use it. Very, very useful and easy to use. All right. Okay, I'm going to go through this list as quick as I can, because like I said, I want to be able to wrap up this broadcast, and I appreciate everyone hanging out. Again, your feedback is super, super appreciated, and thank you for just like being here. And again, out of this broadcast, I want this to just be able to give more people a little bit more insight, to be able to be like, sweet, you know, like I hear it. I hear the call to be like a conscious creator a little bit more than what I've been doing. So just going over my list, yeah, okay, so when we're doing things related to the how, we are building community. We've already talked about that. We're focusing on relationships, the importance of creating healthy community, block and bless practices, approaching videos and approaching content creation with the concept of practice in mind, allowing it to be playful, allowing it to be fun. With video, bring in your personal experiences, you know? Try doing a one-shot take where you just go through the woods and just kind of like see what comes out. What is needed? What is a message that is going to come through? Or choose one of your top like 5 exciting topics to be able to hit upon and practice exploring those within a one-shot take. The other thing that I would really encourage people to do eventually is to do lives on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wherever they have a platform. Eventually, once you get more advanced, which is stuff I want to be able to teach more of my Patreon supporters, you can do things like what I'm doing, where you're broadcasting across like Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and maybe other platforms, all at the same time, to be able to just like reach a wider audience as well. So doing lives is incredibly important, because doing lives allows, again, you to be able to create that relationship with your audience. It immediately allows them to connect with you. It immediately allows you to be able to just like have a conversation with them. And I want you to start thinking about even mimicking things that I do, such as doing tarot readings live during broadcasts. And again, understanding that what I do is I do lives, and then I create the conditions that direct people to my Patreon, which invite them to be able to sign up. So like I said, that's something that I want to be able to get more into detail with a little bit further down the road. But that in itself is a super basic model that I would encourage other people to mimic. That idea, again, of being able to create, doing a live broadcast where you create a condition that invites people to sign up to your Patreon during the live broadcast. And then if you can create it in a way where every live broadcast, you're like, all right, I'm going to do this live broadcast, and every live broadcast I do, we're going to get 2 Patreon signups. And then you do this, and then this continues to build over time. Another thing that you want to be able to do, practice doing while doing lives or doing other videos, is when you do a live, practice establishing yourself as an authority. And what I mean by this is to be able to, again, this is where we kind of want to begin reflecting on what is like our high value, what is like our high value skill that we have, or some sort of expertise that we have. And this doesn't have to be something that you have to be able to figure out right away, but I'll give you an example. When I start a live broadcast, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll be able to say like, hey, my name's Brendon. I'm an award-winning filmmaker. I have 10,000 people following me on Instagram. I've created 1,000 videos, etc., etc., etc. When you create that list, when you create those quick examples, it gives the people listening the invitation to be able to be like, oh, okay, this person's worth listening to. This person is someone who I should listen to. So what you can do, as an example, let's say you're focusing on lucid dreaming. Maybe that's the topic, that's your niche. Maybe that's your value. You help people learn how to get better at lucid dreaming as well. You could do something where you're just like, hey, my name is so-and-so, and I've been lucid dreaming since I was 7 years old. Something like that, right? You say something like that, and then in the brain of the person listening, they're like, oh, this person has experience. This person's an expert, quote unquote, to a degree. This person has authority over a topic. Therefore, it's worth my time to listen to them, right? So again, even for me, like creating this broadcast, I'm like, hi, my name's Brendon. I've spent, I'm a graduate of media production, media theory and production. Therefore, here's what I'm going to tell you about media theory and production, ... opposed to just like some person who's just, talking about things, but you're not really sure why you're listening to them. So practice doing that. When you begin a live, I want you to practice doing that. Practice doing a live with the idea of establishing yourself as an authority on whatever it is that you're there to talk about. And feel that out. That'll be something that will come into you over time. So, if you don't already have a YouTube yet, definitely, if you feel called to make one, consider making one. If you don't have an Instagram yet, consider making one. But at the same time, pick and choose your platform. One of the things that I will recommend is the idea of focus. Follow one course until successful. A lot of times what people can fall into when creating conscious media is this idea that they might focus on too many things at once, and then nothing really moves forward. And this can be a challenging thing. But if you're just like, okay, I'm going to focus on building my Instagram for about the next couple weeks and building those relationships, and then I'm going to start posting my YouTube type thing, So understand that like the Instagram is a great way to be able to create like the consistent relationship that you're creating between yourself and your community, between yourself and your audience. And that is why, like, something as simple as like the image post, the meme post, the selfies, things like that, those are incredibly valuable because they serve as like mediaries between your bigger videos, between your lives, right? So instead of just doing like a live, like once a week, but then you're not promoting it on Instagram, or you're not doing anything on Instagram, maybe only like 2 people are going to tune into your YouTube, into your live. But instead, if you're just like, yo, I created some really cool intentional posts throughout the week, and I've been engaging with people, and people have been commenting, and I've been responding to their comments, now when I do a live, they're going to be more likely to tune in. They're going to be like, oh, sweet. I'm excited. I want to be able to support. Invite people to be able to support you. In terms of creating a Patreon, this actually segues quite nicely, because this is one of the best pieces of advice that I can give to you. And it really comes down to the energetics of thing. When you create a Patreon, and again, Patreon, for those of you who may just be tuning in, that's the platform where people can support artists with monthly contributions, and thousands of artists are successful as a result of it now. There is a very important energetic shift with the Patreon, or with asking for donations or anything like that. Instead of approaching it from this idea that you are asking people for help, that you are asking people for donations, instead make that shift where you understand that you are inviting them to support, that you are inviting them to contribute. That little bit just of the verbiage, that shift in the language, will literally change the energetics of like how your message is even received from the people who are tuned into that. So again, like imagine, like let's say you're watching me. I'm not Brendon. I'm just some other person, and I'm just like, hey guys, like thanks so much for watching my comment. Please sign up to my Patreon, or else I'm not going to be able to do these. I need your help. Please, I'm begging you. Please, if you're watching this, don't do it. And I'm slightly being passive aggressive because I'm implying that you're like not contributing value while I'm contributing value. And it creates like kind of like this relationship where the audience are just like, am I obligated to contribute? Like, should I feel bad if I don't contribute? And then so that's what can happen if you kind of approach it from this idea of, again, you're like asking people for donation. Instead, when you can really get onto that path where you're just like, yo, I am a freaking badass creator. I know what I'm like working towards. I know what my goals are. I know what my visions are. And I am going to be creating, and I'm inviting you, my audience, my members, my relationships, my community, to be able to be a part of that creation, to contribute, to be a part of what it is that we are creating together, to co-create it. That becomes more of a synergistic, that becomes more of a healthy dynamic relationship where, again, instead of like them feeling like they need to contribute, instead they feel excited to contribute. They'd be like, yo, I like this energy. I like the fact that this person doesn't feel that they like need me to support them in order for them to do what they are doing, because they've already given themselves the permission to do it regardless. And now I am simply supporting and holding and uplifting and allowing them to do even more in what it is that they are creating. And therefore I feel like I'm creating it too, because I'm contributing in that way. So just be aware of that little bit of an energetic shift. And again, over time, you'll get good. You'll get good at being able to invite people to support you, because again, you'll start owning your value. You'll start owning your worth as you begin to build the confidence as a creator. And that's where, again, like for myself, I'm just like, yo, like I'm going to keep creating awesome content, and the support on the Patreon is super, super appreciated, and expressing that appreciation is like so valuable, and just giving that reciprocation. And I'm inviting people to help me, to help us, and helping others, and increasing our global impact and working towards our goals and co-creating this as a team, right? So just be aware of that slight shift between asking people for donations or asking people to sign up to your Patreon versus inviting them to be able to sign up to the Patreon. Slight energetic shift. Very, very, very important. So the other things that I got here on my list, and we're just going to hit through this as quick as we can, and then we're going to wrap this up. Ooh, 9:06 on the clock. Good sync. Thank you again, everyone. If you guys, again, let me know if you have any questions in the chat. Is this valuable for you? Are you finding value out of this? Please, if so, leave a comment in the chat and just be like, yes, I am learning and I'm getting something out of this. Again, even if, like I said, this was literally just a practice broadcast because, like I said, it's just like a chance for me to practice expressing this information. But I'm going to be working on crystallizing it even more so into the future. So, okay. All right. So again, if there are any questions, please feel free to let me know. All right. Okay. I'm just going to kind of go through the list that I got here, and then we're going to wrap this up. Finding your target audience. That's very important. With Instagram, that's actually a really powerful thing that you can do is actually like pay attention to hashtags. Pay attention to following other hashtags and pay attention to liking other people's posts who are in a similar niche, who are following other people's pages that might be in a similar audience. Another thing that you can even do with this is to be able to basically like spend time like commenting and following people's pages that are in a similar that are like into a similar niche, that are into a similar thing, and spend like a little bit of time each day where you're manually like following a page and then liking at least three posts, and maybe leaving a comment. That way, so when someone goes into their feed, they're scrolling through and they're just be like, oh, like, what's this? Someone liked my page, liked 3 of my posts, and left a comment. Okay, sweet. I'm going to check them out. I'm going to follow them. I'm going to give them a little bit of my attention. And then again, that creates that initial invitation. That creates that initial invite. So another thing that I want to be able to remind you is that when it comes to success, especially even with Patreon or anything else, numbers are something where you grow them over time, but you don't need thousands of people in order to be able to be successful. You could literally run a successful conscious media page or like be a creator with literally like 100 people following you on Instagram. Because again, it's about the relationship that you are building with those people. And now understand, this is just kind of like a side thing here, but I want to be able to give you a little bit more context. Other than Patreon, there are other options to earn income. The Patreon is something that you would build it over time, and it builds regenerative income. It takes a lot of work, but there are other ways. For example, there are some people who provide their services as a coach. They help people with like one-on-one sessions. They might do, like monthly commitments with people where they have access to them and they do one-on-one calls and they help support them on their journey. Or maybe it's something more specific. Maybe, like you have some people who pay you $300 a month for you to be able to do one-on-one calls with them. And during those one-on-one calls, you give them like special tips and tricks on dream practices or something like that, or health and nutrition, or stepping into their confidence or something along those lines. What I'm saying here is that if you're focusing on your relationship, what you could literally do is you could literally like create these awesome content, create this awesome post, and then out of that, maybe only, like you have like 4, 5, 10 people who are paying you, like a few $100s a month for your service, for your high value. And then out of that, you're creating your income. You're creating whatever it is that you need to continue to support you in doing that. So again, with what I was talking about earlier, spend time reflecting on what is a high value skill that I can provide. What is something unique that I can provide? What is a unique perspective, a unique ability? Maybe that ability is you being a good listener. That ability could be, again, like you providing some sort of expertise, one-on-one consultation on something to be able to help support someone on their journey. Again, my high value skills, I kind of talked about this. Again, it's conscious media creation in general. I got quite a few high value skills. But one of them, for example, is tarot reading, right? So I do tarot reading, which is something that literally anybody can do. And then out of that, again, I use my high value skill to be able to attract people and to be able to provide the service and to be able to provide a value so that they would be able to be encouraged to contribute for the exchange of that value as well. So again, as a conscious media creator, your content is about building the relationship. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. And again, sometimes your content is about building the relationship that might lead people to that one-on-one sign up for a program that you have, right? Like I'm sure you've seen this where again, like there's lots of different ways. You could literally take examples from other people who are creating this. You could create like, you know, like a community. You could create a private community where it's like a community of like, you know, like woke individuals or people who are focusing on dreaming, and you're kind of leading it and you're providing your expertise. And that's similar to what I'm doing within Paradigm Shift. And then again, like people might pay like X number of dollars to be a part of this community that you have to create. That's stuff that goes a little bit more in depth and stuff that I want to be able to provide as well to more of my Patreon supporters, to teach them how to be able to like create like platforms for their individual communities as well. Just be aware though that by choosing what you're doing in terms of like providing your service and getting value and getting the support back, doing the one-on-one stuff can be great. I've done it before. I've done like one-on-one coaching with people. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't quite for me. It wasn't something that I wanted to continue focusing on. Instead, I felt called more to just managing the bigger community and focusing on the content creation. I did find that doing the one-on-one consultation, I enjoyed it. It was providing value, but at the same time, it takes a lot of energy. So you have to be like in a place where you're capable of like maintaining your ability to be able to like meet the expectations of the value that you're offering as well. So again, that's just kind of like stuff to keep in mind for those of you who might be thinking and be like, oh, sweet, you know, like what could I provide that someone would pay me $200 a month for, right? And again, that could literally be your time. That could be your consultation. That could be you holding space, you helping coach them, you helping hold them accountable, you helping assist them in awakening to their power, if that's something that you feel called to do. So, another thing that I'll just mention here, we still got quite a few things on my list. The difference between popularity and success. This is super, super key and super, super important. And kind of what I was talking about just a moment ago. There is a big difference between popularity and success. You might have, you know, you might see a page that has like thousands of people following it, but it may not actually be successful. It may be popular, but it may not be successful. They may not really have like an in-depth relationship with the people who are following them. And that's kind of the thing, is that like, unfortunately, for some YouTubers and Instagram people, they have hundreds of thousands of people following them to the point where it's very challenging for them to be able to like engage with people on a more personal level. Or if they do, maybe that's like their private community that they're providing as well. But again, just keep in mind that you can be very successful without being very popular. Do not equate popularity to success. Do not just focus on the numbers of your YouTube or your Instagram. Focus on the impact. Focus on the value. Focus on the relationships that you are creating between yourself and your community and your audience and your team that you are building, right? So, and again, out of this, there's like this bigger story where again, like, what is the story that you're creating through your content, and what are you inviting people to be a part of, and how do they see themselves in that story? And so again, using my content as an example, the story that I'm creating, building this global team of shifters and inviting people to be a part of it. Very simple, but very, very powerful as well. Okay, again, I just want to go through this because like I'm pretty much spent at this point, but this has been great practice for me. And again, by me doing this, I do it with the intention to plant seeds so that anybody in our community listening to this just starts thinking more about the idea of being like, oh, sweet, like, okay, I can be a creator. I can be a conscious media creator. Maybe I'm going to start a Patreon. Maybe I'm going to start focusing more on getting content together. Maybe I'm going to connect more with the Paradigm Shift Central team. So other things that I'm just going to list off here. Meme creation, paying attention to trends, focusing on your niche, consistency, building relationships, practice, getting feedback. I'm just reading off what I got, and then I'm going to decide what I'm going to talk about. Going outside of your comfort zone, being connected with community, learning from others, providing value, block and bless. I already talked about that. Being a leader, investing in yourself, connecting with allies, sharing other people's content, finding apps to help you with, and honoring the source. Okay, so there's a few other things here that I'm just going to touch upon real quick. Meme creation. Meme creation is so powerful. If you can get good at meme creation, like that can help you reach a wider audience, right? Like, is my goal to just create cool memes on Instagram? Not necessarily. I enjoy doing it, but the memes are a step, are like a piece of a bigger puzzle. I create memes to be able to like create this relationship with my audience where people are like, hey, like when I tune into Brendon's content, I know it's going to make me smile. I know it's going to make me laugh. I know it's going to inspire me. And I know it's going to be like a little silly and sometimes funny and sometimes cute. Right? So you create kind of like a mold of what you want, and memes are a great way to do that. Memes are a great way to kind of bring in a playfulness into your content, and there's a lot of ways that you can get inspiration from other people who create conscious memes and start taking a crack at creating your own. For creating graphics, I would recommend an app called Adobe Spark. If you want to check out a free app to be able to begin creating graphics, that's the one that I use for creating that. Check out Adobe Spark. But again, when I create memes, the memes are sometimes helping connect me with a bigger audience on Instagram, right? It's a tactic. It's a tactical thing. The memes might bring in, like 20 new people to my page. And then as a result of that, they might see like some of my main videos, and it's actually the main videos that I'm really interested in sharing. That's what I want them to see. But the memes become kind of, again, like this like invitation that gets sent out, that it brings more people back into the page. So do not underestimate the value of memes for being able to create momentum and expand your network and expand your reach, and to be able to, again, to focus on building the relationship between what is the vibe, what is the themes, what is the mood of what you are creating and what you are inviting people to create, to be able to experience from your creations, right? Like it's like your Instagram page is like a theme park or like a party, right? And so when people come to your party, what are they getting? What are they expecting? And what are you giving to them? Memes are a great way to be able to help like practice expressing that in a single image really fast. And again, a great way to be able to practice incorporating humor as well. And also with memes, great way to be able to pay attention to trends, not even just for memes, but for videos as well. For example, earlier today, I posted up the Baby Yoda meme, like again, like Baby Yoda from like the Star Wars and stuff like that, like posted up that meme of like Baby Yoda sending good vibes to all my friends. And so again, like that is literally just playing off the fact that Baby Yoda from the new spoilers, sorry, from the new Mandalorian series is a trending thing right now, right? And then everyone's like, oh my god, Baby Yoda, I love Baby Yoda. And then as a result of that, it incorporates Baby Yoda with mindfulness, with consciousness, and it's like creating this alchemy that again serves as a vehicle to invite more people back in. And now as a result of me doing that wow, holy shit, okay, I didn't even realize that Baby Yoda meme literally has over 551 likes on it so far. Dude, that meme is blowing up, man. I haven't checked it since the broadcast. I literally just posted before. So again, that meme has probably helped a bunch of people connect to my page who otherwise would not have connected to it, and then they connect further, and then again from there they connect to possibly even these broadcasts as well. So it may not just be like, your purpose may not just be to create memes, but understand how memes serve as like a heartbeat to your social media presence, right? So if you're kind of hesitant on creating memes, just think about how they can serve you. And again, and when I say memes, like it's not always like kind of like the cliche memes. Memes can also, again, kind of just be like the inspirational quotes, the cool images that kind of like have a vibe to them or have some sort of inspirational message to them as well. The memes aren't always going to need to be like the funny style of memes in the traditional way. So, consistency is a very important thing as a conscious media creator. Definitely you want to be able to maintain consistency without burning yourself out at the same time, so that's why like throughout the week I like to be able to like keep posts coming on a regular basis, and then that way it keeps people engaged and it keeps people inviting back. So that's very important. So just be aware of maintaining consistency while making sure that you're also taking time to take care of yourself. Super important thing as a creator. Oftentimes as creators, that will happen. We kind of like, we live our job, and that happens with me. And sometimes, so we have to make sure that we kind of take time to step away from it. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we're like creating a schedule and a routine that works for us. So finding that routine, finding that consistency. Building relationships, we've already talked a lot about that. Practice, we've talked a lot about that. The idea of creation is a process of practice, and you learn by doing. Getting feedback, pay attention to people giving feedback, ask for feedback. This is something that I do every now and then. I'll literally send out a post through Instagram where I directly message people. So what you can do is this is a quick tip. Okay, so on your Instagram, this is super, super valuable for Instagram. Because again, going back to the idea of building relationships, what you can do, this is actually a really, really powerful tip, is what you can do is you can create a post, like a cool post, a meme post, example, or a video post, whatever it is. And then what you do is you go to that post and you pay attention to who's engaging with it. And then you go to each person who engaged with it, and then you check out their content. And then what you can do is you can actually send them a message if you haven't already met them yet. And you can literally just send them a message of gratitude and just be like, hey, thanks so much for following my content. I really appreciate it. And then you can open up dialogue and open up a conversation. And then you can literally kind of ask them and be like, hey, how long have you been following my content? And another great question is, what about my content attracts you to it? And then out of this, you can start to get feedback. You can start to understand what people like about your content, what attracts them to it, and what to keep delivering more of as well. And then out of this, again, in a very unique, personable way, you can do it where you are also in a very natural, organic way, inviting them to subscribe to your YouTube, or to check out your Patreon, or to check out your store, or whatever other thing you might have. So again, you can literally just be chatting with them, and you can just be like, oh, by the way, have you subscribed to my YouTube yet? And they might be like, no, I didn't even know you had a YouTube. Oh, sweet. Can you send me the link for it? Absolutely. Here you go. Or you can just be like, oh, have you had a chance to check out my Patreon yet? No, I didn't even know you had a Patreon. Oh, sweet. Here, I'll send you the link for it. Go ahead and check it out. If you have any questions, let me know. And please feel free to connect further, and maybe, connect with the team chat. So you can use your posts as a way to see who is engaging, go to those people following your posts, directly reach out to them, send a message, and focus on building those relationships. Does that make sense? And then again, out of those personal relationships, that's where you get your supporters. That's where you get your Patreon signups. Out of that, it's when people relate to you, when people feel personal connection, when people find the value in what it is that you're creating, and they want to be a part of that. They want to be able to experience more of that, and they want to see you reach more of that impact as well. So if that makes sense, drop an 1111 in the chat, because that's a super powerful thing that I think a lot of people just don't do. They don't send out messages to people on Instagram who are following their content. So again, every time you post on Instagram, the post isn't just the post, it's to see who's engaging and then to follow through with that direct outreach, if you choose. It's one tactic of many, but it is very, very powerful. And again, something that I just think a lot of people don't do. But again, if someone likes your post, that's basically an invitation for you to be able to reach out to them, and reach out to them in a way that's organic, where again, it's literally just you saying and expressing your gratitude. That's a great way to be able to begin a connection with people, is to literally praise them, not just praise them, but to express your gratitude, to acknowledge them. That is one of the most important things when building relationships, is to make sure that you acknowledge the person that you're talking to. So for example, maybe you're looking at their page, and you might just be able to comment on something and just be like, hey, I really like that post that you put up the other day about being mindful with our breath. I think that's really cool. I think it's really cool that you posted that. And they might just be like, oh, sweet, thanks. So anytime you're reaching out to someone, find a way to express the gratitude, to acknowledge them. And that goes a long way, because otherwise, if you just send out a message and you're just like, hey, thanks for following my content, check my Patreon out, please. They might just ignore it. It's easier for them to just be like, oh, that feels like an automated message. That doesn't feel personable. And it's not that you're trying to fake this personableness. You want it to be authentic. You want to be able to know who's following you. You want to be able to know who you're connecting with on a more personal level. And again, out of this, you might have like, you know, like 100 people following you. But if you can spend a little bit of time investing and connecting with these people on a personable level, those people are going to be the people who are going to be able to say yes to supporting you on Patreon. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you see how this is starting to make sense? How it's about the relationship, and by having the Patreon there, you create the place to be able to give them that opportunity to support. Because there are a lot of people that I've seen who follow other creators, and you know, and they're just like, I would love to support you, but I don't know how. And it's like that person doesn't have a Patreon. And if they had a Patreon, off the top, there would be like 15, 20 people who would be like, yo, I love what you're doing. I'd be happy to support you. Or maybe it's like a local friend. It's like a local network. And you're just like, yo, I love what you're doing. I see what you're doing. I would love to support you. And so again, having that Patreon creates a place to send the invitations, to invite people to practice giving their support, for them to know that support is like something that's going to help you in reaching your impact and living your dreams. And that's the thing, right? Like, I firmly believe, and this is again part of my purpose, I want to help as many of my friends as possible become successful on Patreon. That is my goal. And that is why, like, I am leading by example. If I can succeed on Patreon, you can succeed on Patreon. And so I wouldn't be able to talk about succeeding on Patreon unless I was succeeding on Patreon. And I am continuing to succeed on Patreon. And it's still something that I'm investing time with. Have I reached my milestones? Not yet. Am I going to keep working towards them? Absolutely. In a few months from now, will I be at a point where it's like even more sustainable? Absolutely. Does momentum build? Absolutely. That's the thing. And never underestimate the fact that like your momentum could pick up. Like your momentum, it might feel slow. It might feel slow and steady. You're getting lots of practice in. And then suddenly, like maybe your content is shared through the Paradigm Shift Central page. And then next thing you know, boom, there's like 50 people tuned in for your next live broadcast. And that's the opportunity for you to be able to connect to them and to be able to invite them to see your value. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to let me know. And again, if this resonates with you, if you're finding value in this, please feel free to just keep leaving some comments down below in the chat. We're just going to check real quick before we move on here. Sweet. Awesome. Again, reminder, if anybody during this broadcast wants to sign up for the Patreon, please feel free to do that. And then when we do that, I'm going to give a free shifter booster kit to somebody tuned into this broadcast. So it'll kind of be like a paying it forward type incentive. And honestly, like, I'm not too worried about someone signing up for this Patreon, because all next week we're going to be focusing on bringing more people onto the Patreon as well. But if someone's tuned into this Patreon or tuned into this broadcast, or maybe you're listening to it in the future, know that you can support on Patreon. And again, help us reach our milestones. My milestone is like 150 supporters and beyond. And eventually that's going to be 200 supporters. And again, all that just goes right back into supporting the community, because it allows me to focus more time on what we're doing. And again, like, that's the thing, like, with the money, like, I know like money can be like kind of like a tricky thing for some people. I think we really need to practice like owning that it's okay to be able to like receive money, to receive value, to receive energy in supporting us in what we are doing. Because like, straight up, like, why is the Patreon important to me? There's multiple reasons. It's important to me because it helps me continue to grow the project for the community. But then there's also very personal reasons, because part of my vision, part of my personal inspiration behind doing what I want to do as an individual is I want to be able to have a family and support them. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to continue to do all of the things that, you know, like society would expect, you know, like get a house, buy cars, go like, you know, spend time with like my wife to be and stuff like that, raise a family and things like that. That is a big part of my why. And that is like a big part of like the stepping stone. So yes, you're receiving support through your Patreon for your work, but it's not just for your work. It's literally for your path. And when people support your path, that is very powerful. And so know that you are worthy. You are worthy of receiving that support. And sometimes we just have to give ourselves that permission in the first place to know that it's okay. It's okay to be able to, again, receive that support. So honoring our value, honoring our worth, and being able to invite people to support is very, very powerful. And again, it's something that will build up momentum over time, and you can get good at it. You can get good at being able to invite people to support you on Patreon. And again, that's something that I'm continuing to learn at as well. All right, other things here, and then we're just going to wrap up this broadcast. Again, I know it's been like a long broadcast, but again, if you guys are getting value out of this, just give the feedback. Let me know. All right. Awesome. Kayla says, amazing synchronicity. Found you on Instagram today and YouTube also, and created my IGTV today, but was not sure of what to share. Beautiful. Awesome. So again, thank you for connecting. And again, reminder for everybody here, if you haven't already yet, please connect to the team chat to connect with me further. And again, with the Patreon, I want to be able to like mention that, because I want you to be able to understand by you supporting me on Patreon, that's also an investment of you like supporting yourself as well, right? Because when you support on Patreon, you're going to be able to like get involved with more of these broadcasts, but you're also going to be able to have access to me for like one-on-one consultation. So for example, say Kayla, as an example, is signing up to the Patreon, and then they're like, hey, I got some ideas for what I want to create, but I feel like I just need to like bounce some ideas around. Can you talk to me for 30 minutes and let's see what we can create out of it? Absolutely. We do that. We create some clarity. We create some more creative direction. And then out of that, Kayla is like, okay, sweet. I know what I need to do next. So that's part of what I provide, is I provide the team members, the leading members who support on Patreon, that additional support so that they don't have to hit those hiccups where they're just like, oh no, like I don't know what to do. If there's ever a point where you're just like, I feel like I need a little bit of direction, I feel like I need a little bit of insight, I need like a little bit of additional support and expertise, reach out to me, contact me. You have that accessibility through being a Patreon supporter. And then again, that becomes more momentum for what you are creating for your content as well. So you might be signing up for the Patreon for like a few dollars a month, but hey, if that's helping you get like 20 Patreon supporters a month, then that investment becomes like, 10 times worth its value as well. So again, I want people to understand that by supporting me on Patreon, it's also them supporting themselves. It's them receiving support as well. So, all right, going to keep moving along through this list. And again, I'm excited to be able to, out of this broadcast, just to be able to connect with more people here. And again, you don't have to be a Patreon supporter to connect to our team chat. You can connect to our team chat even if you are just here. So the way how we have our team chat, and I'm just going to explain this to you because I want you to kind of get an understanding of how a community can be modeled if you're creating one as well. We've set up our team chat in a way where I have a public chat, and then the rest of the chat is for the Patreon supporters. So anybody can join the team chat and still be involved with it, but then the rest of the chat is for the Patreon supporters. And again, when people invest, it helps them create like more of a relationship between themselves and the community. They care about it more. In the past, if I just had it open to everyone, it would just, again, that's where it kind of leads to this idea where it's easier for someone to just like start bringing in weird energy or like, negative energy and drama, and they don't care about the space because they're not invested in it. By inviting people to invest, to put their skin in the game, it's actually helping them, because it helps them, it reminds them where they're just like, yo, sweet, like I'm supporting this, I'm contributing for this, I'm going to show up for this. This is something I'm investing in, and because I'm investing in myself as well. So again, I'm excited out of this just to be able to connect with more people. So anybody here who's just tuned into this, send me a message. If you're inspired by what I'm trying to do here with this broadcast, by what we are doing as a community, supporting each other as a team of conscious creators and leaders, send me a message. I want to connect with you. I want to see what you're creating. I want to be able to learn more about what you're interested in making more. I want to see how we can support each other. I want to be able to include you into the mix of the community. So send me a message on Instagram or join the team chat and just be like, yo, I joined and tuned in there. So, or again, just comment on YouTube as well. All right, we're going to wrap this up in about 10 minutes. So another thing in terms of my notes here, learning from others. Learning from others is such an important thing. So when it comes to creating content, pay attention to like what other people are making, right? Like look at who's already out there, who's already successful, what is working for them, and learn from it. Mimic it. create things that may be similar yet unique. Don't reinvent the wheel every single time. See what's already out there, find out what works, and then continue to grow what you are interested in creating with your own style as well. Going outside of your comfort zone, super, super, super important, right? Like that's a big part of this thing for creators. And I know a lot of you're just like, yo, I've never been on camera before. I'm not really sure how to do this. I'm really, really nervous about this, but I'm super inspired and I definitely want to be able to do it. Going outside of your comfort zone is definitely just a part of the path. But again, that's where you grow. So not too much needs to be said about that. But again, just encouraging you that if you're feeling you're on the edge of your comfort zone, that means you're also on the edge of breaking through into that next level of your creativity. Providing value, already talked about that. Think about the value that you're providing. And again, the examples of value that you could be providing. Maybe it could be, one-on-one consultation. It could be, again, inspirational videos. It could be, again, guided meditations. It could be tarot readings. It could be, energy work. It could be, tips. Like it could be like a PDF about like tips how to learn about lucid dreaming. Look at what other people are providing in value and find what you can provide with value, because it won't just be one thing. There's a lot of value that you can provide, and you're going to learn how to begin to develop more of that value as you grow. You may not feel like you're just like, I'm not really sure what value I'm creating yet, but as you get into the process of creating in general, you'll start to find and develop your value. So by you creating, you're actually investing in yourself as well, in your ability to create more value that you're capable of providing. Block and bless, that's what we already mentioned. Again, quick reminder, if anybody is like harassing you on social media or just leaving comments that don't fully align with your course of action, block and bless and move on. Like seriously, like unless it's like an exception, it is most cases not worth your time to be able to spend time like getting into an argument with someone. And you don't, and seriously, like you don't have to explain yourself to someone. You don't have to. Just because someone messaged you on the internet doesn't mean you have to reply to them. You are responsible for your boundaries. That is such a powerful message. You are responsible for your boundaries. You are responsible for the energy that you let in. So get good at block and bless. Get good at setting your boundaries. And again, for myself, I rarely have people who like come in and try and troll me or try to get offensive or try to get defensive or try to just like get off course. It doesn't happen often with me. But again, if it does like happen in rare circumstances where people might join into the chat right away, even on a live broadcast, I keep my eye on it. I block the comment right during the broadcast and I move on. I don't even talk about it during the broadcast. I just move on. And so again, just be aware of that if someone's like creating some sort of drama, don't bring that drama into your content. Don't bring it into your feed, or else that becomes very unattractive and very detrimental for the community, and suddenly it just takes things off course, right? So get very clear on what your course is, on what your objectives are, and what you're moving towards. And if anything feels like they're trying to like take you off that course, deflect it, block and bless. It is there for you to practice setting your healthy boundaries. So when someone comes up to you and they leave some sort of offensive comment, just be grateful, because you're just like, oh, sweet. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to practice setting my healthy boundaries, right? And that's usually what the case is. So, and again, community is more important than the individual. What I mean by that is don't let one person's wants, needs, expectations, drama set the entire community off track. If someone is like not within the guidelines of what you're creating, then unfortunately sometimes you just have to make the executive decision to just be like, sorry, but the community is more important here, and the health and the ecosystem that we are creating is more important here, and I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to remove you. And it just is what it is. And you don't have to feel too sorry about it, because again, there's a million other pages, there's a million other creators, there's a million other communities. They will find something else. They will survive. So so again, being a leader, if you are a conscious creator, you are a leader. And that's something that we need to start embodying. We need to really start reflecting on that. And we need to start doing it in a very humble way, because what we are doing, again, the intention behind me doing this broadcast, I am being a leader to help create other leaders, right? Like this is what good leadership can look like, where instead it's just like, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. Instead, it's like me being like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm treading a path, you know, like I'm like a wolf at the front of the pack treading through the snow. You guys can follow me and make your own paths at the same time. And let's do this together, and we're all equals. This is the purpose of the synergy circle. We are all here at the round table together, and we all are equals. So make sure that when you're creating your content, even though you're coming from a place of authority and expertise, you're not coming from a place of hierarchy and elitism. It's a little bit different. So constantly kind of be reminding each other. And this is when it gets very important into your verbiage. This can come through in your posts, in your Instagram posts, when you use simple things such as using like the phrase we, using the pronoun we, instead of just being like, oh, you know, like I'm going to change the world. Instead, we are going to change the world. Victory is a shared success. Invite people into feeling like they are a part of your team, because they are part of your community, simply by reading your posts. Allow them to feel that connection. It's not just your show, it's the community show, and you are helping lead it. Again, you are the captain of your ship. So really allow yourself to step into that place of being a leader in a way that like feels empowering, and it feels in alignment, and it feels balanced. And that's what we need more of. And then again, by you doing that, it helps other people give themselves permission to do that as well. All right. Okay, last couple notes that I got here. Investing in yourself. Super, super important. Take time to invest in yourself. Whether that's signing up to my Patreon and getting more connected with the community, if that's what resonates with you, or maybe it's like spending $30 on another like course somewhere that's going to teach you about how to be able to create conscious media or something like that, or just media in general. There's lots of these out there. There's like lots of courses that you can find online that teach you how to edit, things like that. Maybe another thing you want to do is invest in a private coach. Again, by supporting on Patreon, you get me as like a media coach, which is super, super valuable. Like that's worth like thousands of dollars a month. If you were to value it at that, it's very relative, right? But again, invest in yourself, invest time in yourself, take time to learn things, take time to develop new skills, take time to go outside of your comfort zone, take time to ask for help, take time to be able to get coaches, take time to learn from other people. So investing in yourself is just a very simple but very powerful thing that I want to be able to do. Connecting with allies. Oh, I got to blow my nose again. Excuse me, I just got to mute this real quick. You guys are awesome. So patient. Thank you. Okay, and we are back. All right. Okay. All right. So, connecting with allies. So we literally just got a couple more points here, and then that's it. And then we're gonna wrap this up. And again, this is just like such a, so much just talking about. But again, this is practice for me. This is literally practice for me. And again, this is moving the story forward. By me doing this broadcast, it inspires other people, and it helps us grow as a team. It helps us continue to connect further. So, awesome. I'm just reading, Lily, I'm reading your comment in the team chat. If you're still in the broadcast, let me know. I'm not sure where you're tuned in. Lily is saying, most inspirational I've seen and felt. I've been stumped as to how to get this need to help reach a wider audience and just help as many people as possible to unlock their gifts. Love always. Awesome, Lily. Thank you so much. Awesome. So again, really, like if everyone here, like if you're just like, yo, I resonate, like I've been listening to this broadcast. If you've listened to this broadcast, obviously like there's a part of you that's just like, okay, I want to take this in. I'm investing this time because I want to learn. I want to be a creator. That's what I feel called to do. Make sure that you connect further. Don't just like, if you're looking to like stay connected is what I'm saying. Stay connected with me, join the team chat, message me on Instagram, one thing or another. Don't just walk away from this and forget it. Make sure you follow up on this right away, or else you're going to get too busy and it's going to fall to the side. Make the decision now to follow through, whether that means signing up for my Patreon, the team Patreon, joining the team chat. Just get your foot in the door, stay connected, and move forward with that momentum. Building momentum is another thing. Like, it's not on my list here. Momentum is such an important thing. You want to build momentum, and then you want to get good at keeping momentum. And that's, again, kind of like this idea where it's like knowing how to rest, but again, you create this content and it begins to flow and you get into this creative mode and things just begin to go, 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 go. And then you're just like reaching a wider audience and you're connecting with people and it just becomes natural. So instead of just kind of like, doing a couple things and then stopping for 3 weeks, do your best, create a commitment where you're like, okay, I'm going to post at least like 3 or 4 times a week, right? I'm going to create a little bit of time each day to think about a new post. And again, like creating a post, you could create a post in about 30 minutes, like a solid post. You could create it in about 30 minutes, doing some graphics and things like that. And again, if you need help with graphics, let me know. Because again, that's where I can help you with anything that you need help with in terms of conscious media creation. Let me know and I will help you. That is why I am here. You have access to me. Use it, use it, use it, use it, use it, please. Okay, so connecting with allies. This is such an important thing, and this is what we are doing here. Another part of what I mean by this in the terms of connecting with allies is using, for example, our Instagram page to be able to share other people's content who share a similar niche, and even people who share a bigger audience. So for example, what I could do is I could like reach out and connect with other people, and this is just an example. So like an ally that I have is Planetary Ascension. Some of you would know this. He's a fellow Instagrammer. He really likes my work that I do. We have a good relationship. We have a good allyship, and he helps feature my posts every now and then just because I help feature him, and he likes what I do, and we like each other, and we help support each other. So understand that through Instagram, there can be a lot of value in seeing someone else's post who you like and taking 3 minutes out of your time to create a reshare into your story, tag them, make sure you tag them, direct other people to their content, to their page, and write in a little bit of a personal blurb about why you are sharing this and why this is important to you. If you do this in a meaningful, intentional way, out of this, certain people are going to start to see it and they're going to be like, yo, like, thank you for sharing my stuff. Like, thank you for, without me even having to ask you, thank you for going out of your way and helping my content reach more people. That's very generous of you. How can I help you? Right? Like that is kind of like how the relationship can continue to build. You don't even have to know that person in order for you to have permission to share their content. And when you tag them, this is why Instagram is so important, because you can't really do this on Facebook quite in the same way. When you tag them, it shows up in their direct inbox, and that can be the invitation for you to initiate conversation. And again, going back to what we were talking about, express gratitude and acknowledge them and just be like, yo, like seriously, I really like appreciate what you're doing. And then you can start doing this. And then if you start doing this, eventually those relationships again turn into like more of those like high valued allies, where again, if you have a piece of content, you can be like, hey, I just released this really important video. Would you mind sharing it? Like, can you share it? Like you forward it to them. And then because you've done them a favor in a way that's not like some sort of like, like, oh, I have to do it, I feel obligated, but it becomes very natural, where if you're helping other people, they're more likely to help you in a way that feels authentic, that is authentic. And so again, if you create like some sort of really dope post or really dope video, and then that person who you've been helping build that relationship with, they see your post and they reshare it, and suddenly, boom, you've got like 100 new people who are connected with your page just because of that. So again, Kayla, who's in the chat right now, who's literally here for the first time, literally says that that's how they found my page. My Instagram page, my Mystic Spider-Man page, was through Planetary Ascension, and both of us working as allies together. And again, this is also like I have a few pages, a few friends that have bigger pages that I consider like kind of like those higher, like again, like kind of the bigger allies. And again, everyone's an ally. But again, just understand that like when you start building those relationships with other people who have those bigger pages, that can be incredibly valuable to help you in reaching more of a bigger audience over time. So you really have to start thinking in the long game, and you have to understand like the value of planting seeds like very intentionally, very consciously, and like over time, and you build those relationships, right? Again, Planetary Ascension, he wouldn't have shared my stuff if I hadn't connected with him over half a year ago, right? So it kind of adds up. Don't expect things to always be instantaneous, but understand that the seeds you're planting today can have like incredibly beautiful results in the future as well. So All right. Okay, moving on. Almost done here. Thank you again. And again, if everyone here, if you're finding value in this, please feel free to like and definitely leave a comment. And again, out of this, you can understand how out of this broadcast, this is us building a relationship. You've gotten to spend 3 hours with me talking about this, me personally teaching you, providing you a lot of value. And out of this, here we are. Here we are, connecting, building, growing, evolving as a team. Awesome. Sweet. Allison W says, I found you through the 1111 movement page. There we go. Again, one of my big allies, Jessica, is the admin for the 1111 page. She really likes my work. She allows me to share the content through the 1111 page. Because of that, lots of people get to tune into my content as a result of that. And again, I want you to understand, like, this is such the cool thing that part of my vision, part of what I feel like what we are doing here together is that as I grow my quote unquote personal audience, that becomes shared audience for the team, right? This is what I was talking about with the team Instagram page. So tonight, like, you know, like, okay, we got like 600 people who like the Baby Yoda post, but out of that, we're going to begin moving some of those people's attention towards the team page. So as I grow my audience, it turns into the collective audience, it turns into the community audience, which again, I have not seen anybody else use Instagram quite like that, where it's really focused on the team element. And that's why I feel like what we are doing here is so valuable, so needed, and so important, and is going to be so powerful in literally just like 6 months from now. In 6 months from now, the Paradigm Shift Central team page is going to be such a huge game changer, because again, it's going to give me that tool where I'm like, sweet, you know, like, okay, Kayla, who's just signed up, you know, who's just like a new part of the community, they're creating content, they're just getting started. Let's share it through the team page. Boom. 10,000 people watched their video just like that. 10,000 people got the opportunity to connect with a relationship. Out of that, 100 people connect with her directly. Out of that, 50 people sign up for her Patreon. Do you see what I'm doing here? Do you see the bigger vision? Do you see the tactics behind what we're doing here? And again, out of that, you know, people signing up on Patreon equals more of us being supported as artists in creating full-time what we are doing together to help, going right back to the very beginning, right back to the why, accelerating the shift in consciousness. That is the game. That is the objective, to accelerate the shift in consciousness. It's not just, oh, we're here to make money. We're here to get popular. We're here to get likes. We're here to get comments. No, we are here to help shift consciousness. Everything in between is sustaining us in our ability to do that ongoing long-term vision and creating global impact in a very powerful way. Do you guys feel that? Like, drop some 333s into the comment if you feel like, really feel like what we are creating together. And again, what we're creating right now is a result of 10 years up to this point of what I have invested into this project. Slow and steady, planting roots, powerful community, something very unique and very, very, very important and very potent for all of us. So, other last thing, this is probably the last thing, and then from there I'll just take any questions from anybody. Honoring the source. This is such an important thing to be able to do especially when sharing on Instagram. When sharing on Instagram, the concept of honoring the source is basically making sure that you tag and credit any reshares or artists that you are posting to your page. So for example, if you found like a really cool meme or a really cool piece of art, don't just like slap some text on it and just share it to your page and people ask in the comments and be like, who's the artist? And you're just like, I don't know. That is not honoring the source. In today's day and age, there is no excuse for not honoring the source anymore, especially since you can use Google for reverse image search. If you come across a piece of art that you're just like, yo, I really want to share this, but you're not sure who the artist is, go to Google, click on images, and on desktop, you can upload an image, run a reverse image search, and you will find the artist, more likely than not. There's only the rare circumstance that you won't be able to find it, but in most cases, you'll be able to find it. And again, if you're reposting from another page, make sure that you give credit and link back to them. And again, that's about building relationship. That's about building allyship. That's about building the network. It's about creating the ecosystem. honor the source. Super, super important. Make sure that you do it because it's a trend and it's a habit that we as an entire community need to get more into. And I'm sure we've all seen what happens when we don't do it. For example, like just think, right? Like my buddy who is an artist, maybe they created an awesome piece of art and they're trying to like get more people to support them on Patreon and to order their t-shirts and things like that. And then a page with 1 million views finds their image and reshares it, doesn't tag them, and then 50,000 people like that image and have no way of linking back to my friend's page. And my friend is just sitting there just being like, what the frig? Like what do I even do in this case, right? If you ever see that being the circumstance, don't be afraid to reach out to the page and just be like, hey, can you make sure that you include the comment or include the tag for the artist, right? If you know who the artist is, go ahead and leave a comment and either just ask, just be like, hey, do you know who the artist is? Tag the page sharing it, or literally let them know who the artist is. Make sure that you are holding other pages accountable when you see that happening, because that is something we as a community need to hold each other accountable to. And then it becomes a habit, and then it becomes a routine, and then it becomes second nature, and then everybody wins. So does that make sense? That's really, really important. And again, I'm sure all of us have seen that where, again, you'll see some pages where they'll literally just do that. They'll take an image and it might be a really cool spiritual image. They put some text on it and they add their links and they add their like info and they say follow our profile, and they don't link to the artist, and they keep doing this on a regular basis. And how does that make you feel when you see that? Some people would just be like, well, everybody's doing it, so it's not a big deal. But it is a big deal. It really, really is a big deal. And honestly, I feel like there's probably some sort of karmic thing that would happen if someone, and I've seen this happen, right? Where we're like Instagram pages would literally do this, reshare content, not credit sources, get awesome images and boost their content and direct people to like purchasing their t-shirts or whatever service they're providing, but leveraging it off of the work of other people without honoring the source. Now, it's not to say you can't share other people's content, but when you do it in a way that's noble, do it in a way that's honoring their content and making sure that you're directing back to them and leading by that example. And then that sets the example for the entire community. Super, super important. So that's very specific to Instagram, but that can apply to other platforms as well. Facebook, Pinterest. Make sure that you comment, comment with people, connect them into the information as well. Yeah, and so again, even as a creator, one thing that you can do if you're creating memes, you're creating your images, adding watermarks is definitely something that you can do to be able to help make it easier for people to be able to find your content. For example, that's happened with me a few times. Some of you have seen this where I've created a piece of content, and because of the watermark, people have been able to find me again. But there have been times, this has happened before, where I've literally created a piece of content, someone removed my watermark and added their own, and then that image went viral, and then there was like a whole wave of that image that was out there, and I was like, what? Like, how did, like, that doesn't make sense. Like, and then somehow like no one was knowing that it came from me, and let alone it had the wrong tag, and I'm just like that does not feel right, right? So don't be that guy. Don't be that person who takes off someone's watermark and adds their own. That's some bad karma right there. But again, it's very simple. Honor the source. Tag the original person and make sure that you're giving them credit and invite people to connect back to them. Build that relationship. And again, when you do that, the other people see that, they really, really appreciate that, and it might make them, it might give them the incentive to be like, sweet, this person's being very polite about this. I'm going to make sure that maybe I share their content sometime, right? So it's about building relationship. So, and again, and even on Instagram, don't just tag the image, tag them in the comments, in like the written description too. Like you can tag in the image, tag in the comments, and like in the written description. That's very helpful. That way, so it's easier for people to click. Because again, sometimes people don't always click on the image. They don't always pay attention to that for like the tags on Instagram. So make it easy. Make it easy for your audience member to find. So, all right, so with that said, that's pretty much the end of the list that I have. Kind of like wrapping it up on that. But just to go over everything, just kind of in a quick recap, while also opening things up to any other questions. So if anybody has any questions about conscious media creation and anything that we've talked about tonight, please let me know. Again, this has been like a 3-hour broadcast, 2.5 hours. Yeah. And yeah, and again, watermark your memes because you never know, one might get like picked up and go viral. You never know, right? So all right, so again, the whys and hows of conscious media. The why: we are helping shift consciousness. We are helping shift the paradigms. We are helping inspire people to choose to be the change they wish to see. We are helping lead people back to their hearts. We are also being able to help be ambassadors for knowledge, ambassadors for inspiration. We are living and leading by example. We are creating story that we are inviting other people to see themselves in and to be a part of. We are creating calls to action. And as a result of this, we are accelerating the shift and we are increasing our global impact. We are building relationships. And also, as we do this, there's the opportunity for us to be supported by the universe in doing this as creators. You are worthy of being supported. You are worthy of being able to build a successful Patreon. Invest in yourself. Invest in your ability to receive support from others. Create your Patreon if that's what you choose, if that's what makes sense for you. Build it over time. The hows of all this: creating videos, sharing personal experience, building community, maintaining the healthy ecosystem of your community. Block and bless when need be. Remember that the community is more important than the individual. And I say that in reference to when an individual is going against the community guidelines. Don't let one individual bring like negative pollution energy into your ecosystem. If it comes down to it, remove that one person and maintain the health of the community. It is your kingdom. You are the queen. You are the king of it. You are responsible for the energy that you allow into that space. Be very firm and yet very, very, very empowered in being able to maintain those boundaries, not just for you, but for your entire community as you keep yourself on track. Practice creating content. Practice. Everything that you do is just practice. Practice creating videos, practice creating lives, go on lives, build relationships on lives, establish yourself as an authority, as an expert when doing lives when it's relative. For example, hey everyone, my name is Brendon. We're going to do some tarot readings. I've been doing tarot readings for 5 years. That's an example. Another example would be, hey everyone, my name is Joey and I'm going to teach you how to do yoga. I've been a yoga instructor for the past 10 years and I've done over 5,000 yoga classes. That's an example of establishing authority, inviting people to listen, to give them reason to listen to what you're going to say. Managing your community, building relationships, direct outreach, expressing gratitude for people who are connecting with your content, paying attention to who's liking your content, reaching out, sending one-to-one messages, paying attention to even reaching out through more hashtags, following other people's content, working along with other creators, building allies, tagging people in posts, resharing things, all of that. Making sure that you choose your platforms, you pick your focus. Creating a YouTube, creating an Instagram, creating a Patreon. Those three, that's enough. If you also have a Facebook, you can do that too. Kind of find where you're going to reach your audience in the best place possible. Sometimes a Facebook page or a Facebook group might be better for you. But again, pick and choose. Try not to spread yourself too thin, but use your Instagram to direct people to your YouTube. Use your Instagram to create the heartbeat. Use the Instagram to create the heartbeat between your bigger posts, and then you go live on YouTube and you got more people tuned in because they've been following your posts on Instagram. Be your authentic self. You are your own brand. Very, very important. People will resonate with your authenticity. That is something that people want more of in today's day and age. They want authenticity. They've seen enough fake celebrities. They've seen enough fake pages. They want authenticity. Bring your authentic self. Understand that you are your own brand and be very, very intentional with what you bring into your content, what you bring into your posts. Check in with yourself before you share and ask yourself, is this going to serve? Like, is this necessary? Meaning, if it's something that's just related to drama or something like that, probably better not to post it. Focus on what your objectives are and keep moving towards that. Maintain your consistent message with what it is that you're creating as a creator, as a leader. Understanding the difference. Popularity and success are two different things. You don't have to be popular to be successful, and you can be successful without being incredibly popular. So understand that you don't need 10,000 followers on Instagram in order to be successful. Focus on the relationships that you're building with the people who are connected to your page already. Focusing on creation, meme creation, getting into that ability of bringing in satire, bringing in humor, bringing in inspiration, media medicine, understanding the value of why you're creating media, understanding the synchronistic nature of when you create something, you never know what it might be for that other person who receives it. Trust in the synchronicity of what you're sharing, yet also be an ambassador for your content. If you're finding you are not getting the reach you want for your content, reach out to me. Ask me how I can help. Maybe I can share your content through the team Instagram page. Maybe I can help get it to a wider audience. That's what we are building together. But if you're just reaching like 10 people and you're just like, oh, like that's, you know, maybe you're okay with that. But if you're just like, hey, I want to reach more people, make sure that you are doing the work to be able to build that network by, again, direct messaging, following hashtags, reaching out to people, connecting through the community like this, sharing to other pages, all of these tactics as well. You are an ambassador for your content. Focusing on your niche, consistency, building relationships over time, using your live broadcast to build relationships. Your lives are a great way to be able to build relationships, to connect with people, providing your value through your content, through your lives. Again, try doing a tarot reading, try answering questions, experiment with it, play with it, allow it to be practiced. But I really encourage everyone here, as a call to action, I encourage you to practice doing some lives, and I encourage you to even schedule in some lives. Figure out what you want your lives to be. Maybe they're tarot readings, maybe they're ask me questions about metaphysics, maybe they're, hey, let's talk about dreams together, maybe they're, let's do a meditation, and schedule it in and create a routine, create a schedule for people to tune in. Didn't talk about that yet, but routine and schedule, very, very important. For example, with us, we do our broadcast here every Sunday. What does that mean? That means that sometimes I don't always have to directly tell people, hey, tune in on Sunday at 7 p.m. because they know that they can already tune in at Sunday at 7 p.m. and there will be something happening without me having to depend on reaching them, without me having to necessarily like always get that notification to them. So don't depend on the notification to get to them if you have something such as a schedule that can bypass the need for a notification when people become familiar with your routine. Oh, what's that? I know Sally goes live on Instagram every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Sweet. I'm tuning in for it. Post your schedule. Make sure that people can get the heads up on that ahead of time. Feel free to send people a message ahead of time and just be able to let them know. Be like, yo, this is happening. Tune in. Practice, get feedback from people, go outside your comfort zone, connect with community, learn from other creators, reflect on what your value is, and continue to level up as a leader, invest in yourself, connect with allies, and yeah, and that's pretty much it. And again, just do research, learn from other creators, reach out to me, use me as a resource. If you have questions following this broadcast, ask me. That is why I'm here. I am here as an expert in media creation to be able to help you in becoming a better media creator. That is my vision. That is my goal, to help as many of us as possible get really, really good at creating conscious media so that we can create our more of an impact, so that we can build our network, so that we can build our teams, so that we can build our income, so that we can build our ability to continue to focus more and more on this as a full-time passion, because that is what the world needs, and that is how we increase our global impact, and that is how we inspire others to do the same as well. So, all right, opening up to any questions in the chat. Please just ask me a question, or if there are no questions, that's okay. I'm totally open to being able to answer a few questions here before we wrap this up. And thank you again for those of you who tuned in on Facebook. If you haven't already yet, be sure to subscribe to me on YouTube, or make sure you're following me on my personal profile. And if you haven't already yet, for everyone here, go ahead and follow the team Instagram page as well. And again, if you would like to be able to support the project further, be sure to check out the Patreon. Even if you're not, I'm not telling you to sign up to the Patreon right now, but just check it out. That way, so you can at least become familiar with it. And the donations process at the beginning of each month. So between now and December 1st, we're going to get as many new Patreon supporters as we can. And so if you want to sign up between now and then, you can. And when you sign up to the Patreon, again, you get a lot of value when you sign up. You can get an on-air private tarot reading with me. You get the discount for the quest item shop for the shift buttons and the Light Guardian crystals. You can also get a Light Guardian crystal for a pay what you wish contribution when you sign up. If you sign up at the $11, you can get a Lumerian Light Guardian crystal for a pay what you wish. And also, when you sign up at the $11, you can join as a leading member in our community, which allows you the ability to come on air for these broadcasts. Again, this broadcast was kind of an exception. literally just everyone was busy. It was Thanksgiving, but because I was here and because I knew this was needed to move the story forward, I showed up. I did this broadcast. This was awesome practice for me, and this allows me to get feedback from you so that we can continue to grow together. And again, your feedback is super, super important. So thank you again to all of our Patreon supporters as well. And again, working towards our next milestone of 150 before the end of December. We're going to see if we can get like 160. This is going to be a busy week for the Patreon signups because I spent the last 3 weeks of this month working on other stuff and building the team Instagram page. So I haven't even done any Patreon stuff this month. And now this week, I'm like going to go hard on the Patreon stuff. So stay tuned for that. And thank you again, Patreon supporters. You guys, you help make this possible. You really, really do. Okay. I'm going to answer some questions here. Okay. Let me just, I'm looking in the YouTube chat. Allison asking, what if my credentials are more just natural ability? Yeah, that's cool too, Allison. Again, you know, like credentials can be a very subjective term. Maybe credentials can also be, again, like your value. Maybe your value is just in like being present, holding space, having a calming voice, being able to just be like very authentic on camera, or very authentic in your written posts as well, right? Your written posts are, it's not just what you put out on video. Your written posts and your Instagram is very, very powerful as well. So your credentials, you don't necessarily need your credentials to be able to exude a degree of confidence. Your credentials, as you said, may just be your natural ability. That's okay. Like that's literally okay. Like you do not need a degree. You do not need a diploma to be able to have credentials. Your credentials may be just the fact that you are focused on your passion and you are showing up. And to some people, that is enough, where they're just like, holy shit, this girl's doing it. And she doesn't need someone's permission to do it. She's doing it. And that is inspiring to me. So just you showing up creates an impression, creates an opportunity for people to be like, yo, like, I want to do more of this too. I want to connect with this person further. This person's brave. This person's bold. Like when you think about that, think about it. What type of traits in a leader or a community like creator or conscious creator are you attracted to? I want people to actually answer this in the chat because I wanted this feedback too. I want to know what we think as a community. What traits are you attracted to in a media creator, in a content creator? So for example, someone who is, you know, funny, someone who is, you know, like very humble, someone who is very honest, someone who's entertaining, someone who's witty, someone who's open to feedback. I want you to kind of like list this out here. And again, understand how us creating this list gives us a little bit of more direction to be able to be like, oh, okay, sweet. What can I focus on embodying? Okay, sweet. People value someone who is present. People value someone who is playful, who is lighthearted. People value someone who can also be very serious, very focused. You know, again, like if you go on a page and it looks like the page is just like there's no theme to it, if it's just like all over the place, that won't naturally attract a part of the brain as much as it would a page where on Instagram, if it's like a nice clean layout and there's clearly themes and there's clearly just like content, that a context that's like consistent, right? So like a consistent theme, someone who's not just all over the place, but someone who is, again, kind of like really focused. So again, even within the Instagram, think about what your visual theme is like. Start creating a brand, start creating, again, a look to what you're creating, and just be aware that, again, every single thing you post, do you want your Instagram page to just look like hodgepodge? And I'm not trying to say that in a mean way, but it can happen, right? Where it's just kind of like, okay, it's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of that. And another thing is just like do your best to post original content. Sharing other people's posts, that's okay. It's relative when it makes sense, but don't depend on it. Don't, because if someone goes to your page and if they're like thinking about investing in you and signing up for your Patreon, and yet 50% of the posts that you share are someone else's posts, it might confuse them, right? Because they're just like I want to see what you're creating, not just what you're sharing, type thing. Share the stories, that's great, but focus on bringing original content into your feed. So again, I'm going to read some of those content, some of the questions we were asking. Arita, again, Arita, one of our supporters, thank you as well, Arita, for being here, says sense of humor, humility. Yo, 1111 Balance, thanks for tuning in. Going to Dreamland, much love, tribe. Have a great night and day wherever you are. Thank you, 1111 Balance. Yeah, we're almost done here. So, dude, thank you for tuning in for the whole broadcast. Kayla says, someone who is authentic and living their passion. Totally, right? So I think you're right. Like, what would be attractive if you see someone who you tune in on Instagram and they're like freaking dancing and they're just like so passionate and you're just like, whoa, like I want that. I want what they're doing in myself. I want, like, when you think about this, when people have like crushes on people, why do they have a crush on someone? Oftentimes people have a crush on someone because they see something in them that they want to see in themselves. So apply that same concept to a media creator and think about that. How, like, when you see a media creator and you like them, you kind of have a crush on them. It's usually because they exude something that you want to see in yourself. So if you see someone who's like super passionate and living their passion, that's because you're just like, I want that too, right? So just be aware of kind of like how that there's like a mental kind of like back and forth going on. And again, allow that to kind of direct you towards the value that you can create as well. Again, any other comments on like what you find attractive to a media creator? Please feel free to let me know. All right, okay. Were there other questions here? Okay. Yeah, so Allison was asking again, I struggle with how to establish authority when I don't have any actual credentials. I want to offer sound healing, light language, energy healing, but have no certification. Allison, so again, what you can do, Allison, you can literally just kind of like phrase it in a relative context to what it is that you're doing. So for example, you can say like, hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. My name is Allison. I am devoted to helping shift consciousness by providing sound healing, light language, and energy healing. That can be it. It's not like you're saying, hey, I have a degree in this, I have a plaque in this or whatever, or something like that. But you tell them your story and you tell them your why right there and then. You know, what is your why? My why behind me doing this video is because I'm here to help shift consciousness and I'm here to be like So again, it's kind of like a way how to be able to frame things. I'll give this to you. I should have given this to you earlier. Is to kind of think like, fill in the blanks here. My name is so-and-so and I do blank to help people blank. Fill in that gap. So my name is Brendon and I create media to inspire people to become creators and leaders, right? Like that's a very kind of like broad sense. So for you, Allison, you can say like, my name is Allison. I provide sound healing, light language, and energy healing to be able to help people embody a more heart open way of living or something like that, right? So again, just kind of keep that in mind. You don't actually need like credentials and still be able to present yourself with a sense of again, give people a reason to be able to see your why, and they will see you as that, like someone who they want to look up to, someone who they want to stand beside as well. Okay, let's get again, I'm ready to wrap up this broadcast. So last call on any questions. And again, out of this broadcast, I want to be able to create a call to action. We're actually going to wrap this up on Instagram. For those of you tuning on Instagram, if you swipe up on my Instagram story, you can catch the last couple minutes on YouTube, youtube.com/SkullBabylon. But thanks for tuning in on Instagram as well. And go ahead and you can check the full recording there. But again, call to action for everybody here. I want you to like spend time reflecting on like, do you want to be a full-time conscious media creator? Do you want to create a Patreon? Do you want to be supported in creating awesome inspirational content that's here to change the world? Think about that. Give yourself time to feel that. And if you feel a part of you that's like, yes, 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 then ask yourself what is needed and follow the bit of the direction that we've provided through this to give you those next steps. And your next steps are, again, practice. Create your platforms, create your Patreon, develop those relationships, get your content out there, connect with people, build your allies. And the most important thing, be a part of community. This is why we need each other. The most important thing, you cannot do this alone. Connect with community. So important. And that's what we're here to do. So you are connected with us. You are connected with community. Utilize that. Utilize the community that we have created here together. It is here to serve you. So again, call to action. I encourage you to bring intention into the content you're creating, to go outside of your comfort zone and to begin using some of the knowledge that you've gained from this broadcast and begin applying it to what it is that you're creating, and to stay in touch with me, and to send me a message. For every single person here, if you're serious about this, send me a message. Send me a message on Instagram, or send me a message on the team chat or on Facebook, wherever, and just send me a message and just be like, yo, I want to do this. Like, I'm serious about this. And maybe you don't know if you're serious, but you're just like, I'm feeling called to this. I want to be able to invest more of myself into learning more about this. I want you to message me, not just because I want to hear from you, because I do, but do that as an act of affirmation for yourself. Do that as an act of bringing yourself into that accountability, where you're just like, okay, I'm taking those next steps, right? So let me hold you accountable as a creator, because that's what I'm here to do. That's what I'm here to do, because I want to be able to help support us. And I know how easy it is as creators to just kind of like fall off the track, to just kind of lose our passion. So we need to check in with each other, use the power of community to be able to continue to move forward. So I'm expecting, like, I'm literally expecting however many people to send me a direct message on Instagram after this broadcast. So, all right. Any other questions from people in the chats? Allison, did I answer that basically for you? Did that give you a little bit more insight? So again, if there's no other questions, everyone here, please feel free to just leave your gratitude in the chat. Just go ahead and just let us know what did you take away from this broadcast. And I'm gonna wrap up this broadcast and we'll be done, and I'm gonna get some sleep, and we're gonna be at this tomorrow's gonna be a full day of kicking butt, and I'll be doing some tarot readings tomorrow. So again, I encourage you to look at my content and kind of learn just by the example of it, kind of see what I'm doing and see how you can do something similar but with your own style. Mimic it. That's okay. I give you permission. I literally give you permission to do. If you see something that I'm doing and you want to do something similar, that's okay. I want you to be able to create, because you're going to reach a unique network. You're going to reach people that I would never reach, because you have your own ecosystem, but together we are a collective ecosystem. Sweet. All right. So I'll just take a second here. Any other comments and gratitude, please feel free to just share those. For those of you just tuning in, welcome. And please feel free to go back and check out the broadcast from earlier. There was a lot of value that we provided in this. So, I feel good. Again, this was practice for me. Like, seriously, right? Like, I've been doing this for 10 years, but this is all just practice for me. So, yes, the Unreal Films. Yes, you can find this. You can find this online. This is, anything on YouTube is always recorded online, 100%. So, and then that is Elise, if I am not mistaken. Yes, I'm pretty sure that is. Hey, Elise, welcome. All right, Elise is one of our Patreon supporters as well, aka Unreal Films. All right, so again, for everybody here, any last comments, questions, please feel free to throw those at me real quick. Otherwise, we're going to wrap up this broadcast, and just feel free to express any gratitude in the chat. And and make sure that you're connected with me. And if you haven't already yet, send me a direct message on Instagram as well. And stay tuned, because we're going to be doing a lot more awesome stuff, and the team Instagram page is going to keep growing, and we're going to keep kicking butt. I'm really, really excited for this next chapter that we're moving into together. So, all right. If there are no other questions, then I think we're good to wrap it up. So again, for anybody here, just go ahead, just leave some gratitude into the comments, not just for me, but for the team, for the community. And I'll just take a moment here to just kind of take a breath, just acknowledging that whatever I just said over the last 3 hours was something that the universe wanted to be able to say to itself, was something that the universe had to be able to share with you, to be able to give to us as a team, so that we continue to grow as a collective. So thank you to all the conscious creators and leaders out there, to all the shifters, to all the light guardians, everyone growing as a team. I see the work that each and every single one of us is doing every single day,
and know that it is making a difference. The ripples are creating waves. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Much love. Awesome. Christine says, thank you. Unreal says, thank you. Diane says, awesome content. If you spot it, you got it. I really like your relaxed nature and how knowledgeable you are on many topics. Your quirky things like sounds like you make, it sounds like you make, and are you make it your easy laugh. Always kind. Thank you, Diane. And apologies if I'm not pronouncing your name exactly right. So embarrassed. But yes, no, thank you. And again, I hope that not just by what I'm saying, but by my presence, it gives an example for other people to just continue to learn from as well. Because again, right, like think about that. Like, why do you like this? Why do you like watching me? How can you kind of like replicate that into what you do while still being you, while still being authentic? Again, that lighthearted, that playfulness, that quirkiness, that confidence, that passion, that courage, all of those things you have, and you can practice bringing that into what you are creating as well. May all beings be safe. May all beings be loved. May all beings see the light within themselves. Christine, thank you for sharing as well. Beautiful. All right. So thank you again, everyone. So again, your call to action from here is send me a direct message on Instagram if you're listening to this broadcast either now or in the future. Even if you're listening to this in the MP3, Instagram.com/Mystic Spider-Man. Make sure you're following our team page. We are currently at almost 600 people following on our team page, and we're going to be having new featured posts throughout the week. And again, thank you to our Patreon supporters, everyone supporting in all forms. Your support in all forms is equally appreciated. So if you're not on the Patreon, but you're still here, you're still tuned in, you're still liking videos, you're still commenting, thank you, everyone. Be sure to connect to our team chat. Again, links for that are in the YouTube info for this video. And yeah, you can subscribe to Paradigm Shift Radio on iTunes for the MP3 format and explore more of the main website at Paradigm Shift Central, and tune in again next week for another Synergy Circle. And I'm hoping I would love to be able to see some new faces in our next week's Synergy Circle, where again, we come together as creators and we talk about all the awesome things that we're creating and continue to inspire each other as we come together at this round table. So I hope you feel that. I hope you see on a very metaphysical level what we are creating here, where this is like very like Arthurian legend coming around, light guardians, knights of the round table coming together to be able to help make a difference in the world. That is a very, 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 very real thing and what it is that we are creating. So thank you, fellow knights, fellow light guardians, fellow shifters, fellow superheroes. We are assembling, we are growing, we are evolving together. So all right, I'm ready to wrap up this broadcast, to give myself some rest and to get ready for another exciting day of shifting paradigms and creating conscious media. So if anybody has any other questions, again, you can reach out to me on the team page, on my Instagram, and on my Facebook. Thank you so much for listening, for investing in yourself, and let's go. Let's take this, move forward with this, create content, give yourself time, be patient with yourself, make moves every single day, and continue to be open to what you are already continuing to become, to what you have always been. So thank you for being the awesome conscious creator that you have always been, and for nurturing that seed inside of your heart and helping others see that archetype and that leader within themselves, that creator within themselves. So beautiful. All right, awesome job, team. We are ready to wrap this up. Thank you so much, everyone. Like this video if you haven't yet, share it with your friends, leave a comment, express your gratitude, and I will see you in the future. This is Skull Babylon, Mystic Spider-Man, Wolf Shield. End it with a wolf howl. If you're listening to this, I want you to howl even if you're like in public right now. Until next time, keep it shifty. Much love, peace, and wholeness. And as I said, I will see you in the future. Good job, team.
Return to her again. And then you saw what he was doing.
Special thank you to Danny Leonardo, whose music is featured at the beginning and end of this broadcast. Be sure to check out more of Danny's work in the YouTube info below. Thank you, Danny.